Hansama and Trimby knew that there was no point in flashing because they were guaranteed.
I'm gonna have to spin this because I have a Hansama praise graphic already. But we'll run it anyway and we'll say, you can see why Fnatic would have wanted to focus on Hansama. He pushes forward in lane. Where do you think those CS deficits come from? Fnatic using both those TPs, and as you highlighted, Cadril, using the advantage they built earlier to punish bot lane for over pushing.
Adam's going to gank mid here because I think top wave is in an absolutely disaster spot. He's going to be so far down in CS. So as good as this play was from Fnatic, the gold is completely even. Look at this wave still bouncing into Odo. He's already like 17, 18 CS up. Adam's going to be really far behind and will get punished for that TP.
Inspired could also just interrupt the back, just being a troll. Now, one of the things that Fnatic could have done there was actually use their prior win mid and potentially set up a dive because on top lane, the was starting to stack
first
and
pick?
Second pick efter Aphelios.
Where he will meet Inspired, who knows he can invade.
Alltså second och third pick alltså sett. First pick var Royce, så kom Aphelios Trundle.
So now he can repay the favor into bot lane.
Jeg mener ikke. De har sett en TP på sin Trundle, sett at det ene pikken faktisk lever ting på.
Det var Royce, Aphelios Trundle, Esvil Hilly holdt jeg på å si, Esvil Rakan, og så Morgana.
De pikka Esvil Rakan, selv om det ser våpen.
Maybe going to look for the dive here on Hansama. Incredibly low. Black Shield is going to do some work, but it's not going to stop Niski from Realm warping in. Hansama now
shit, mobbing.
doesn't get hit by the extended range out of the E, but now Whipple locked up under the tower. The TNC not quite enough to finish.
Hvordan Trimby livet?
Easy kills here for the side of Fnatic. Odoamne sitting on the top side.
Niski blir sterk, ass.
Yeah, great setup from Fnatic. Niski as Prio goes towards
kind of
bot. What was Rogue's only
defending
play? It was the TP from Odoamne. He TP's in the middle of the lane itself, right under his tower in vision. Adam just cancels him straight in his face and loses nothing for it. So this bot lane, this winning bot lane of Morgana into Rakan is backfiring heavily. They're so far behind right now in CS, in XP, and now if the Rakan can be unlocked on the map, that makes Larsen's life even harder.
And again, while the Azir will eventually outscale this Ryze in terms of range and damage output later on, especially in these 5v5 team fights, early on it can be very difficult for the Azir to be able to match this push. So Niski, along with all the early pressure and assistance that he had from players like Adam and the roams from Whippo, he's been using this Prio to move around the map. And that's the second time he's now made his way to bot lane to set up upset for success.
The lane phase from Rogue is fine, just the team play seems really off. Communication, execution, when it comes to pushing out lanes, team being behind, making team plays just looks really off for Rogue, but it's very clinical for Fnatic.
And Rogue, obviously a team that we saw during the regular season dominate early games, and usually, outside of those Rogue moments that we've talked about, pretty cleanly transition their lead. Sadly, that was not the case versus Mad, and they certainly struggled versus Misfits as well, but you can see they got 3-0'd. Game 1, Game 2, those were the rough early games. That's the ones that personally caught me by surprise. I thought even against Mad, they'd be able to find that. Game 3, they still found that success and still fell behind. Things are dire for Rogue right now. We wanted to see a
commanding av de gamesene var bare sånn hvordan fant med det her når de lå langt bakom.
Their scaling should be alright. Yes, they're losing out on the lane
phase. Gameplay som ikke ser.
Now, and Niski can be unlocked on the entire map.
Ryze, er det ikke bra?
They have an Aphelios. We can see what they can do in the late game. The problem is, like they said in draft, they lack a lot of engage, so closing out the game might be very difficult for Rogue itself. We'll have to keep an eye on how these side lanes progress, though.
So having a look at what's available on the map right now, things like the Herald are up. Both Azir and the Trundle have just gone back to base to spend a little bit of their money. You can see that Niski now has the tier 2 boots, so he's going to continue to look to roam around the map. But Woodpo sees a window of opportunity where, because Larsen has just gone back to base, Niski should be able to get the push, offer that assistance to Niski. And then also, if you have a quick look at your minimap, and our observers are highlighting, Hylissang already on the roam. Very common player that you'll see, especially when playing into range support matchups, who will often be a little bit slower on the roam because they want to focus a little bit more on trying to gain advantages in the 2 versus 2.
Yeah, free Herald, easy pickup. Rogue, they put a ward over the wall, they knew it was dying, but no push in mid, and like you said, support wasn't there, so where do you use that Herald is a big question for Fnatic. Could use it mid when Niski gets the push, and you can look for 3-man plays on Larsen, or you could look to use it bot with Niski's Prio, where he moves around the map. Larsen gonna dash away.
Of course, for Fnatic, everything going very swimmingly in this early game. 4 kills to 1, they've got the Herald, they've got the Dragon as well. They pulled off the successful bot lane gank that we know that they love to do. Adam here could have potentially overcommitted there. Still opting to hammer smash out of that exchange.
Is hovering in the river there. I think both teams are expecting something to happen around the top side. Of course, Rogue have full information thanks to the vision that they have. Whereas Fnatic not quite in the same boat, but this control over the river on both sides actually from the side of Fnatic is very good. You can see these control wards invested top side and on bot side to make sure that they keep moving into Fog of War and to get Rogue guessing consistently.
Yeah, look at the vision Rogue have. They see absolutely nothing. So Inspired just came up here to cover Odoamne so he could push out, but Odoamne might be overextending here a bit. He still sees nothing. Inspired cancelled his base once again, so using a lot of time here to make sure Odoamne can push in, chunk out Adam, get a play for himself. Maybe he was expecting Bwipo to look for a gank up towards this top side because they haven't spotted him out for quite a while. So that's a really good play, I think, by Rogue itself, because the problem you have right now is you can't walk into river to contest vision because you get collapsed on. So you walk through the lane, and then when you base together, then you can move together into the river if you so please. So Inspired not showing in the end, but I think Fnatic kind of knew something was up there.
And good, I think, to see Rogue playing a little bit through Odoamne. He's a guy that really impressed us in the regular season and struggled a bit against Huron, struggled a bit against Arma in the most recent series. So to see that priority place there, to see him start building up these 40 CS leads, these additional tower plates is good. The question now, as it always is when you have a laner with this big of an individual advantage, is how do you transition that elsewhere on the map? How do you make Odo's lead everybody's lead?
And the important thing to recognize is that while Odo is ahead on the 1v1, when you look at the overall game, Bwipo right now is the only one with a mythic item. He is very strong on this Viego. He has a level up on Inspired. He has a CS advantage. And alongside Niski, this mid jungle from Fnatic is very strong, and they will often get to move first. So these early objectives, Rogue will likely just have to concede and rely on their scaling later on into the game.
Yeah, look at Hylissang. He just ran all the way straight to top lane. Bwipo has Herald too, so if Niski can get up here, it's a 4-man play. Trimby stuck in lane, Upset using the ult to clear out the wave in bot, so he should be able to farm from max range. Rogue really need to defend the play here. Larson already basing to get an item to maybe look for a TP, because right now, as strong as Odoamne is, if you have a numbers disadvantage, he can't even walk up to the tower.
Here comes the setup for the potential dive. Rumwarp going in as well. Inspired, what can he do? The flash in, the immediate stun coming out. That's the Spectral Maw. Odoamne just getting shredded down. Camille might be behind, but she's got more than enough CC to make sure Odo goes down. Fnatic and Bwipo now moving to the top side. They've got the Herald to pull out as well. They might not be able to finish the tower, but they're going to grab a couple plates.
Beautifully done by Fnatic, and Rogue knew that it was happening, but there was nothing that they could really do to stop it. Larson had gone back to base. He did have the TP up, but it did not matter. The 4-man collapse from Fnatic will get them kills, it will get them plates, and it will continue to extend their early game gold advantage.
Yeah, look at Upset in bot lane. There was not even a cross map. He can just sit there and clear out the wave. Rogue can't even invest TPs to try to shut him down or force him off the wave, because Fnatic can always match. This is the thing when you have 3 pushing lanes. Fnatic can push in bot, mid and top. So Hylissang has time to just base. Upset can catch the wave, give the push for 1 wave or 2, run top, and make this play happen. Great to see.
I mean, the craziest thing is when we looked at the draft, right, we expected Rogue to have the push in bot, but then what happens? The double TPs, the roams down to bot lane, they shut down this Aphelios Morgana from having pressure. Then in the top side of the map, Odoamne is dominating. But how do they use the Herald? Oh, it's because they use their mid prior to roam top and then contest for it. It's crazy how Fnatic are executing this early game. Let's see what happens now.
Just a cheeky ignite to threaten Inspire. Hylissang, Upset might be in trouble here. Hansama can go for the active. No, Upset going to use the cleanse, but Hylissang now going to get taken down as Odoamne TPing down to the bottom side. So Dragon secured by Rogue, but using a TP to do so.
Yeah, I wonder if Larson's going to TP top to defend that top tower, because Adam can just push this in and take it, I believe, on the next couple of waves. Looks like Odoamne realizes that, cancels his base and says, guys, my top tower is dying. Let's get their bot tower at least. Larson is going to clear it mid, and it'll be a trade-off of towers by the looks of it. But you're completely right, Vidius. This early game kind of fell apart for Rogue. The early kills in bot from the TPs, the mid lane chunk level on Larson.
Jeg gruer meg til Aphelios begynner å styre med det shuriken-driten. Åh, det bråker så jævlig. Eneste grunn til at jeg hater Aphelios. Ja, det er så forferdelig å høre bare. Jeg bare, ja, jeg forstår.
And I think this is just a further indication of something else that we've talked about, which is the flexibility of this Fnatic roster. Adam has been the center of attention, and Adam has been left on an island, and the Misfits series showed that perfectly, where we have Adam completely on his own. We have games where Niski is the sole focus, where he is roaming on the map. We have games where they're going bot lane every single time. The flexibility of this Fnatic roster with so many strong players is incredible to see, and when they leverage it well, you can see how hard it is for Rogue to match it.
And the flexibility comes through draft and gameplay, right? You can see Fnatic, like you just said, Adam's in a losing matchup. He's going to sacrifice himself. He's going to gank mid. He's going to make sure his team's ahead. He's playing Darius. They're going to invest resources into him. Now, Odoamne, no flash.
He's going to get locked up there for a brief moment. Spectral Maw comes out, followed up by the ulti as well, and there's just nowhere for him to go. Inspired coming in. Maybe they can try to take down Bwipo, but he's got the reset as well on the Viego passive. No, a perfect cover.
Inspired.
Go down. Big money into the back pocket of Inspired.
Burde han ikke bare tatt reseten her?
Nei, du tar fortsatt større seg.
Ja. Men da kunne han liksom gått sammen med Adam.
Stopwatch buys a bit of time.
Oi.
Great moment. Larson could come in. He could try to save
Under
it
it.
with the shuffle. What else is he going to do? Larson, no time to use the ultimate either. He's now trying to chase down Niski. Has to be careful though if he overextends. Hylissang and Adam on almost no mana.
Niski, yeah, huge.
Could just get dropped.
Yeah, Fnatic just have numbers advantage everywhere they go. Mid, bot, and especially in the top side. That's
Hva greia med Fnatic egentlig? De har ikke spilt så clean gjennom hele sesongen. De har begynt nå, liksom.
It's crazy how much control Fnatic actually has over the top side of the map. You can just see all these wards invested. This trio, this one ward here, the river control they have, the vision is just absolutely mind-blowing from the side of Fnatic, and they're using their early game control to perfection. Let's have a look back at exactly how this one broke down.
Yeah, they have the ult onto Adam. odoamne tries to knock him away to get the Hex Deck cancelled. He does in the end, but too much follow-up without Flash. Now Inspired comes in, and it looks like he's fine here because he kills Bwipo. So after he dies, it looks like the fight's over. Hang on, fight in top.
Going forward, Niski. It's just too easy if you're Rise. Oh, Azir, there's just nothing you could do. You could dance all you want, but he's going to point and click you eventually. Niski on a rampage.
Yeah, great play from Niski. I'd love to see how he got onto Larson there, because he must have dash, he must have flash, and he must have his tower passive as well, but Niski gets the solo kill. We talked about Fnatic having a 1-3-1 comp. They're in a 1-3-1 right now, and you can see Rogue just can't match it. Yes, odoamne can push in bots, but Adam could probably all in him if he has vision. Niski looking for Inspired here. Hylissang has flash.
Now stepping forward, Hylissang not connected to anybody, but he can let it back out to Niski, going Proc to reduce some of that damage. Hansama strong with the gun combo he has, but no one is walking into his effective range. Adam now even comfortable in the 1v1. He's a level up on odoamne. That was Rogue's only slow point, and he's fishing for the 1v1. odoamne alive for now. Nope, that's Adam on a killing spree.
The solo laners of Fnatic are taking over. We said the solo laners get ahead. It's really hard for Rogue to play. Rogue are trying to group up and do something. Larson gets solo killed. Adam gets vision
Så som man egentlig bare liksom at Ignite var en ting som bare Ignite smite, bare at det dealer med på Champions.
And they have controlled the game pretty much for the entirety of it. Look at the gold sitting on the two solo laners. Bwipo is so much further ahead of Inspired as well, and it feels like Rogue's strategy of trying to leverage their pushing bot, leverage their pushing top, scale for the later game, rely on their team fighting, it's all just falling apart.
And gentlemen, I think this level of team play is doubly impressive. We remember the start of season context for Fnatic. Adam coming in as a rookie, Bwipo role swapping to a brand new role, but we've talked about it before. The one thing they have over every other team is best of 5 experience this season. You called it the Gulag, Cadril. This team has gotten better and better. You remember the Vitality series, how shaky, how bloody it was. Improving against Misfits, taking down G2 with those dominating TF performances, and now here in Game 1 versus Rogue, Fnatic look incredibly strong.
The question is this just a curse? Because we've seen this from so many of the teams in our playoff runs. We've seen Fnatic get stomped in their Game 1 against G2 in their best of 5 to then have them bounce back, and often when you look at these best of 5s, this first game is a big indicator of some of the big strengths. Rogue's game plan coming into the game was more about scaling, relying on some of their dominant laners to find advantages, and credit to Hansama and Trimby, they did find a 2 versus 2 kill, but Fnatic's response was better. They invested teleports, they utilized Niski and Bwipo moving around the map, getting early game advantages, and they've been able to dominate off the back of that.
I think the way you said it is beautifully right. Hans and Trimby find the lead, but Fnatic as a team find a way to shut it down, and that's the difference you're seeing in these games. Now that these solo laners are ahead, they have full control of the map. The team play is great to see. Now they're going to get their second dragon. Larson might get this top tier 1, but for now it just feels like Fnatic's in full control. The only plays Rogue are making are lane phase plays.
Definitely. At this point, Larson just going to take what he can, grab the tower. They're down 4K gold. Now, as you highlighted in the composition, scaling always an option for Rogue. If they can find the front-to-back team fights, they certainly have the tools to win the day. Azir and Aphelios, 2 of the strongest scaling champions in the current meta. Maybe, just maybe, they can keep a Rise at arm's length, the Camille, a Viego at arm's length, but it is going to be difficult.
And so this is where the important
Will Mad defend the title?
Number 1, Fnatic can sometimes be their own worst enemy. Fnatic have shown that sometimes they are over-aggressive, they are over-eager, they will take fights.
Jeg trodde at det kanskje var best av 7 i dag, men det er tydeligvis bare finalene.
I guess I...
Var det finalene?
I morgen.
I'll be there. Gjerne joine, sånn som i dag.
The other thing to take into consideration, Rogue in their very first game against Mad, the reason why Mad couldn't just roll over them was because the way in which Rogue actually managed their side waves. Every time Mad tried to play through 2 lanes, Rogue would make sure that the 3rd lane was completely pushed out and they were consistently catching them and wave clearing. So Fnatic need to make sure that they don't slow the game down too much, because even though Rogue might not be able to control the early game in the same way that many of the teams in the LEC do, they're still a smart team and they can be pretty tricky and clever with how they manipulate their ways.
Certainly, and of course for Fnatic, this is one of the hardest points in the game to push through and push further. If you get a Baron, obviously easy picking on those tier 2 towers, but really have to find those creative punishes, have to move across the map very well to start breaking tier 2s without the help of one of these bigger buffs, without the help of a prior team fight at one of these major objectives.
Yeah, I think patience is the aim of the game here, Fnatic. They're going to push in now because Baron's spawning in 10 seconds. They want to get some vision around here. You can see Niski's first to the jungle because Larson has to catch the wave. Similarly in bot, they have to catch bot wave as Hans.
Heldigvis ikke hva Morgana var svak til.
Ja.
Potentially doubly important.
Da var det sånn, oh, that's gonna be a tough lane, men det er jo sånn...
Fights and now they're just in no position to set up around any objective around
Jeg tror ikke det kan gjøre sånn mot Morgana.
Nei. Det var det som kanskje var tanken.
I think we've outlined clearly how Fnatic want to play the game. They want to push insides and move mid. We just saw it there and Hans had the flash. Now the question is what do Rogue do as a team? You've got good scaling, you know, Azir and Aphelios will scale. You lack engage, yes, but how do you weather the storm? And I think that controlling side lanes, catching waves and making sure you group up mid as much as possible to shut down the plays is the best way to do it, Vedius.
And here we see a TP though, Fnatic are trying to shut that down.
Adam coming in, hookshot wall, very difficult to get.
Larsen har litt for mye farm. Det må vi få en slutt på. Vi skal 5-0-3.
Oh yes, there are. They're Fnatic, baby. 40 seconds on Larsen. They're going to start it up. Inspired has flash to steal. Fnatic have good turn. They don't have realm walk just yet, so I think...
Ja, han har sett verre games turn, da.
Look where he is.
Men de scaler som fan.
Whatsoever. They have a brief moment where the trinket comes out. Pillar gonna grab it just a little bit. Can they steal it away? Can they get it? No! Flash over the wall too. Right into the waiting arms of Fnatic. It's an absolute disaster for Rogue.
Det var litt troll.
Still going. He's taking away the tunnel. He's taking away the pillar behind Tom. Maybe this is his year black shield. He doesn't have the damage yet. It's too early in the game. It's absolutely shredded. Trimby running for his life. Fnatic routing Rogue in the pit.
Oh, Rogue are just getting run over. Inspired flashed in 1 second too late. Hans has no flash. Larsen was dead from before. Odoamne just pushed out bot. He knows that the top side play is doomed, and now Fnatic are just so far ahead. 7k gold lead at 21 minutes, and they have a Baron.
We talked about how Rogue wanted to try and control the side lanes, try and make things a little bit harder for Fnatic, but the moment that Larsen dies, that is the go button for Fnatic. The delayed flash from Inspired, he was just a little bit too late getting over the wall. It looked like that HP was low enough for him to make the play, but it wasn't. The moment that he drops, Hans Sommer then gets committed. Fnatic find themselves kills, they find themselves a Baron, and now they're looking to end the game.
Yeah, and I have to say, credit to Inspired, he just flipped it. They had no vision on the Baron, so he just 50-50'd it. He knew that was their only way to Trimby, I think, had no wards. He had 0 wards, no pinks, no nothing, because he walked up to the pit and he couldn't throw anything over. The only thing they threw over for vision was the Aphelios turret. But by the time he threw that over, the Nash was dead. So now Rogue have lost it, and now it's all about weathering the storm, but it's even harder because this 1v1 can come out. Fnatic also have no TP, so it's a little bit harder, but they can dive you. They have a Rakan that's fed, and he has a flash available, so he can just instantly jump on you.
These tier 2s are going to start breaking. We've seen already Fnatic have so many engage options that they get...
Larsen.
They might start to fight
Larsen! Så gudelig!
Men
si for Viego med oppå.
Så mange interactions Viego.
Slowing Fnatic down at the cost of Larsen's life.
But I think it's a play that you have to try and make, because if they get themselves 2 kills there, they slow down the push from Fnatic. They know that their base is going to be broken if they don't try something, so they make a last-ditch effort. Larsen goes for the hero play. It ends up faltering, and while getting a 1-for-1, Fnatic secure themselves under the tower.
Yeah, you have to make those kind of plays. In the end, it does slow down the siege. Looks like Fnatic are only going to get that mid tier 2 and a Dragon for now, so side lane tier 2s are alive. There's a big top wave stacking, but for now, Rogue have slowly weathered the storm, but Fnatic are going to come back even stronger.
Weathered the storm of the Baron, to be certain. Maybe Adam gets this tier 2 tower, but it looks like Rogue will respond. But the 8k gold lead and the 3 Drakes remain, gentlemen, so it is still... They're not out of the storm yet, and they might not be for a very long time. Again, scaling is the answer, and sadly for Rogue, I think holding on for dear life is going to be the theme for the rest of this game.
Larsen's just walking into the jungle looking for a blue buff. Doesn't have any vision to work with either, so he's just gonna have to give this one up. And yeah, Rogue looking for these desperation plays when you're this pushed under your tower.
Jeg regner med forresten med at det enten er drittvær for tida, eller så det er litt for varmt, sånn som det er nå.
If they were even in gold, I could see a way in which Rogue could definitely win out in fights. But the other problem they have is upset.
Niski er så fett at han kjører dere ability haste-greia, som jeg ikke husker hva heter engang. Cosmic Drive, vet du.
Odoamne going in anyway. He's not too concerned. Is it going to cost him his life? Not quite. He's going to flash out that flash. It does. Just barely manages to keep Odoamne alive. Trimby just enough AP and enough points in that ability to keep him going. But that's a tier 2 down for Fnatic, and the gold lead continues.
Men hvem er gutta rute for, da? Altså, jeg snakker ikke gamet her, jeg snakker sånn generelt.
G2, let's go.
Du, ikke gni inn. Det såret fortsatt ikke lukka. Enn du, Nikote?
Jeg er litt usikker. Jeg har ikke fulgt med nok til å egentlig ha et favorittteam.
Nei, altså, du, å rute for Fnatic, det er for de som ikke har fulgt med. Fordi de har aldri spilt så clean gjennom hele splitten. De har spilt ganske ræva gjennom hele splitten, og så plutselig bare play, og så bare bestemmer de seg for at nei, nå skal vi begynne å spille bra.
Game mot Vitality var en disaster, holy fuck.
Ja. De har på tap mot Vitality, liksom, og så slår de både G2 og Misfits.
Ja, G2 så ikke bra ut da.
G2 var litt cringe.
Misfit vet jo bare å ha den oppi som faen. Rogue kan bare også adapte til skispace.
One more Pokemon available, but no flash, as you highlighted. Trimby stepping forward into Bwippo, going to use the shackles, but Bwippo already on the way out.
Oh,
this time it worked. That's true. No pauses today. We know about the
No pauses today. No pause, no win.
Got taken out, and now because Rogue invests
the funny thing about that is I thought he was actually outside the realm.
It looked like his back foot was outside.
It's about where you click.
For dere som ikke vet det, så var det en pause på jævla realm-walken sist.
Det blir masse pøs hele den.
Jo, men det er jo mest på Viego, da.
I have a lot of respect though for Fnatic in terms of
Whipper har en tendens til å pikke Viego, da blir det jo pauses.
Obviously we have seen them play a clean and patient game.
No pause, no win.
De skal bytte navn på Fnatic.
Jeg tror jeg må det.
They will look for those opportunities, they will look for those picks, and if you're not restrained, you can get
Var det 2 eller 3 pauses i gamesene mot Misfit?
They've come in with a strong draft. They've come in and executed well upon that draft, and they are definitely setting themselves up as the favorites in this series.
Certainly are, and potentially could look to end the game here in the next
Eller var det en dagen med 20?
Ja, for det var 2 lange i hvert fall, men jeg synes jeg husker at det var en kort da.
Ja, det kan være. Jeg husker ikke hvilken dag da.
And Odoamne, they are pretty ready for this team fight. That said, Fnatic could just beat them down with their wallets. It's still a 10k gold lead that Rogue have to find a way to overcome.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see because now this game, the stakes have changed. It's not about Worlds now, it's about the title. It's about Rogue's revenge against Mad Lion, and it's about Fnatic rising up after such poor performance in spring, I have to say. It's great to see Fnatic's bounce back in this game alone in the series, putting the statement in game 1 just now. It's all about closing it out. Like I said, it's not getting a bit too over-aggressive when it comes to these dives. Baron's up, they can burst it down, they have many options, you know, you can just push out lanes with Rise ult towards the Baron, and push it and get it before they can do anything. But Rogue, in their own jungle, ready to react. Sparrow has flash now, and they're trying to fish around to get some information. Odoamne bot, Larson in mid, they have TPs if anything kicks off. Looks like Fnatic might just want to push them into their base for now.
I like the way in which Fnatic is controlling their sideways. They set up a good wave on bot lane, kept that pushed in. They're keeping the pressure up in mid. You can see Niski playing the top side. Adam, oh, he nearly face check. He's gonna face check!
But the binding missed!
What? The pillar pushing him back. He's gonna be locked in for a few seconds now. He tries to ult with the Camille to get
himself
out.
What?
The flash is gonna get out. He has to burn everything to survive.
That should have been a kill for Rogue, but now the backfire is gonna come in. They're gonna lose Fnatic don't even bother about it. Rogue lost a lot of ultimates for that, but they realize they can't do Baron because the waves are pushed in mid and in top. I think that should have been a pick for Rogue and maybe an avenue for them to find some comeback in this game.
Definitely could have been a huge play, but Rogue end up falling short.
Imagine.
Continuing to clear out vision. They will get themselves the soul.
Det der en hard
He will connect onto Bwippo, but I doubt any follow-up is going to happen. The rest of Rogue starting to collapse around the Baron area.
The fact that they've gotten Cloud Soul and now kept pressure around the Baron area is big.
Really?
Bwippo got chunked out, could cost them a little bit. As Rogue are now fighting to take back mid priority, assuming that Bwippo has to back off. He is the Viego. He has enough sustain. He can just clear up off a camp and be full health and ready for a fight. Not quite level 16 yet. but is getting stronger and stronger. Rogue feels like the Baron flip might be the last-ditch effort to try to get away back into this game.
Grippo got the crab. The problem is Fnatic just need to push Rogue out now and reach
them.
They have very little vision around
For
this
en
Baron
cheese.
after taking that Cloud Zone, after having base, but now Larsen has to dash away from Niski. You can see that on the minimap. Adam's chasing him, and that's Larsen's flash already gone, so now they can push in the waves. Baron is going to be
back, man.
Larsen was forced to flash there. The risk of Adam's ultimate was too great, and he didn't want to gamble it. So now with that gone, he becomes so much easier to kill in the fight. And Fnatic is going to start pressuring the Baron. Upset going to try and force Inspired away. The waves have been pushed in. Fnatic with good control.
This is where the game will be decided. Fnatic, yes, is very far ahead. They just need to execute this one Baron. They should be in a good spot to clean end it out. Hillesang's coming from base. They want to look for an engage. They want to push Rogue back.
On top of good items, maybe, just maybe, we can get another fat team fight damage chart from him if he can hold on. Upset, though, throwing the ulti across at least one member of the team. Getting chunked out. It is not the luxury of an Alistar and engaged support. He's only got a binding and a black shield to his name.
Yep, there it is.
Realm Warp coming in, just as you call it, Cagel. Now they set their sights completely and totally on this Baron. Adam where he can try to stop Rogue from getting in. 6K, 5K, 4K, getting lowered. Inspired. Can he come over the wall? Can he steal it? No. Fnatic taking their second Baron of the game. A Cloud Soul backing them up as well. They are poised to take game one.
And interestingly clean from Fnatic. They don't overdive, they don't overchase, they just push them back, Realm Warp to the Baron. They know their timings, they secure it, and they all back off. Now they have the setup, and they should start to siege into Rogue space.
Yeah, I like the fact that Fnatic actually turned off the Baron and chose to try and fight or skirmish against Rogue, because they know that they're 10k gold up, so if Rogue choose to take a fight, they're more than certainly going to win it. And on top of that, Fnatic then use that to reclaim vision control over that top side of the jungle, and then creatively use the Realm Warp to get back into the Baron pit to be able to secure it before Rogue could even answer. Just very well played, great patience, and a very, very solid game one from Fnatic.
Oh man, I have to say everything sucks.
There's no one ever
Inside of Rogue right now. Everyone's so far down in levels. Inspired 3 levels down. Niski's level 18. Hands 2 levels down. Now the siege comes in. Looks like they're going to go for a 1-1-3. Both TPs are available. They're going to siege onto this bot tier 3. If it kicks off, the solo laners will TP in. It's going to be a seesaw effect where Fnatic push in bot. When Rogue match, they'll push in top and mid. They'll keep pushing in bot, so just keep your eyes on how they keep chunking up the towers,
support statsene på Upset, da.
I think Niski could even like threaten a dive onto Larsen.
Oh, speak of the devil, it might just happen.
Smålig fed.
Shots before he can walk under the
Smålig
tower.
fed.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be at least one inhibitor getting taken down, but now Hellsang, they're going in on one. He does a lot of damage, but he's just so switchy. Hansama stepping forward. He just wants to auto-attack somebody, but nobody is in range. Fnatic breaking down another tower. All 3 inhibitor towers down. All 3 inhibitors soon to follow from the start of the game along every single step. Fnatic have been in control. Rogue needed early advantages. They could not find them, and Fnatic never gave them away back into this game one with absolute confidence, with absolute dominance, and a 15k gold lead with Adam diving into the fountain ready to go. Fnatic will take game one in this semi-final.
Wow, really clean game from Fnatic, I have to say. You can
Et
just see
lite
how
ekstra
clean
kill
it is
på
by just the
Niski
way it
på
ended.
slutten her.
All 3 nips down, all 3 lanes pushing in.
Ganske glad for at jeg valgte Niski nå. Det ser bra ut.
Take over with good map play, and from there it just felt like they had no chance.
Niski ser jævlig bra ut.
Just extremely well executed from Fnatic, and I think the biggest thing was we talked about in draft how, hey, when you have the Jace top lane, you're going to have push there for Rogue. With the range support in Morgana and Aphelios, they're likely going to be able to get pushed bot lane too. They even 2v2 kill them.
Han måtte lukke kabalen. Han hadde i bakgrunnen. Måtte bare finne seg.
Jeg kjøper skinn til Adam.
I think that this is why Niski needs to receive so much credit, because he is being given the resources to roam, and he is roaming and affecting
Liten breakthrough grønne, så er det...
They've shown us winning lanes. The whole split long, it was lane domination, but it just feels like they're really up and down in what they want to play right now.
And again, we talked about game one as testing the waters. Perhaps Rogue bringing a new strategy. Perhaps they're not going to feel too bad about this one. Maybe there is more up on their sleeve, but we know they did not get to play their composition the way they wanted to whatsoever.
Jeg skjønner ikke helt hva Asip. Jeg må nesten se Abansen. Brasil føles veldig vanskelig å spille på, med mindre at det er sånn 20 midbans.
Benson fra, du tenker fra Fnatic?
Ja.
Det var Varus, og så var det... det var Varus, så... Hva var second band, hva faen? Jeg husker ikke.
Mad Lions with one of the greatest comebacks I have seen this year. They make their way to finals.
Jo, second band var Kennen. Og så var third band en support, tror jeg. Jeg er litt usikker. Men det var ikke noe midlane.
Greit.
Spennende når
Så
de fikk
både TF og Asyl er så dårlig mot Royce. Så Royce
Ja,
bare
TF var uansett ikke banna før etterpå, da. Ja, TF ble banna av Fnatic etterpå.
Jeg må spille safe. Hva faen er det for noe? Hva er det her for noe bars? Det er ingen der. Det er ingen som spiller sedd på, eller i hvert fall ikke, så det var sånn EU Masters-dritt. Reklamen. Det var så bra. Not fair. Se på chatten der som sier not fair. Simen. No.
Ja, jeg skal chatte.
Skal chatte.
Skal chatte.
Dun, 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 dun.
Katja.
Nå fikk jeg se på not fair, not fair.
Katja. Hold it, chat. Hold it. Hold it.
Ja, fy faen, Twitch-chat, altså.
Det er Cat Jam.
Oh my god.
Det er fortsatt noen som prøver å få ham til å holde it. Hold! Hold the door, chat. Hold. Bare vent til dropper hjem, nu. Der. Se det gå. Nå tar det av.
Ja, det tar helt av. Release! Ja, chat vil jo satt i tidenes slow-mo, da.
Er det ikke vakkert?
Det var så mange som klarer å feire med sitt Catjam. Catjam med liten AM.
Ja, det er ikke så Twitch-chat, altså.
Det beste jeg visste med Twitch-chat på lekk, det var når Vitality spilte, og Leader som spilte mid, dødd, så bare ser du hele chatten og stemmer med Feeder, Feeder.
Welcome back everyone to the analyst desk after
Leaders in death er noe verste jeg har sett i mitt liv.
Han dør jo hele tida.
Han går jo under turret og blir fuckings Rice-bein da. Shocks! Ok, la oss se på alle shocks-folkene. Heat. Endre ikke i baggen nå, vel? Kjøp han.
Er Ender her?
Han Endre her.
What?
I think from their perspective, they thought
Han er
that
ikke koronagift
both
med.
answers into the TF and the Rise, and I think it was clever that Fnatic picked the Rise to kind of block the TF away from Rogue. So I think after that, they had a scaling option into it in the Azir, and I don't really like this choice from Rogue, honestly. I think they mostly chose red side for their counter pick on top lane, which I think honestly worked out fine, but it didn't really have an impact in this game because there was just too many things happening around the map. But the red side was for the top lane pick mostly, and it worked out fine, but I think they also realized that the Rise was a massive problem.
Yeah, and I think we saw them return to a lot of what we wanted to see, what we were talking about at the top of the day, which is priority in lanes, right? You have a Jace in the top side, you're going to have priority, and especially when it's a counter pick too, you're definitely going to get that. In the bot lane too, as soon as the Rakan gets locked in, you have Morgana, which got a kill, right? You're going to have pushing lanes, you're trying to take down turret plates. The flaw, I think, in this strategy are the other pieces in the composition, especially that Azir, like you mentioned, because when you have prio lanes on side, you need a mid lane champion and a jungle champion that can support the attention that lanes like that demand when it is on opposite sides of the map. And an Azir is going to get outroamed by a Ryze, and frankly, Larssen isn't going to be allowed to accomplish much on the map.
We've seen it a couple of times, I think, from Larssen going to that when the TF is off the table, when something like an Orianna, which can also fill a scaling and controlling role, is off the table. Are we seeing the edges of a champion pool there? Because it is almost every single time that we've seen him go to the Azir. And unfortunately, for if you're playing Fnatic, the game is going to go too fast for you to have an impact.
I mean, I think it's not really a champion pool issue. I think it's just a prioritization that they had in picking their Azir on 4-pick instead of 3-pick. I think if they go for the TF on 3-pick, sure, Ryze is like a fine matchup into TF, but at least then he can match the roam. So I think it's not really Larssen's fault in this case. I think it's just a bad prioritization from Rogue.
Yeah, and again, a huge problem here that Rogue find themselves playing against, especially like last week we saw Humanoid on the rise, champions with global abilities that can force numbers advantages, even though, right, they got that 2v2 kill on the bot side, immediately seeing TPs, repeat ganks, all this stuff. It is very hard for Rogue to play their controlled style against a huge roamer like Niski.
And with that, I'd like to go to the next big thing I want to talk about, which is the way that Fnatic choose to play with Adam, or the way Adam chooses to play with Fnatic. We've been tracking this for a while. The fact that he is willing to give up priority in lane, waves, whatnot, to roam around the map, even when it doesn't seem like the best option.
Honestly, it's really interesting because it's somewhat reminiscent of Whippo when he first joined the league. All the time, like on his Ornn, he would sack a wave to roam mid lane and make a gank happen, and we saw it in this game. Guaranteed
hey, G2 here, let's watch Worlds together.
You're always going to get pushed in, you're going to be unhappy. Then here after TPing bot lane, we were actually kind of worried because all of a sudden Odo has this great freeze against him. Adam's going to be down 20 CS, but it plays into the game plan of Fnatic where it doesn't matter if your top laner's down 20 CS, because in a minute, you're going to be bot lane again to repeat punish that lane.
Yeah, I think Adam knows that it's not really his game to win in this one. He knows that he doesn't have the prio against the Jace, and I think he just realizes that if my bot lane is ahead and the Morgana Aphelios can't really smurf the lane, then we're winning. So I think he just does this TP play on bot to make sure that his bot's winning and can be in a good position for a repeat gank with Niski on the rise. So
alltså, du skulle ha sett dem, Skugge. När det var chokes och Laura och sånt. Folk bara, Laura,
To see him be so selfless, to see him be so well-rounded, you heard him talk about at the top of the day, how much faith his team has in him, how much help they've been to him as well.
Hold it, chat, hold it.
On point. They're such a well-oiled machine, and they're playing off each other perfectly.
So let me then ask you, you know,
I'm here for draft.
Right? If you're Rogue, you know that every time the teleport is up, every time the wave is favorable or even unfavorable, you know that Fnatic is going for those dives, is going for those skirmishes. Is it then as simple of just be the first person to do it, just be the first team to pull the trigger in that regard and draft for that? Is that the solution here for Rogue?
I think in general their draft wasn't really set up to fight back. They just played for having strong lanes, as Kadril said on the cast as well, and then just get their lanes ahead and slowly build a goal lead. But when Fnatic just blows up the map, they don't have a lot of counter. Like,
do you blow up the map first then? Is that the strat?
I mean, if you can get the right champions for a draft, because if you look at this draft from Rogue, it is reminiscent of their style in a way where, well, if the early game they're not getting challenged a lot, your top lane's going to win by default, your bot lane's going to win by default, and Larssen is good enough to like go even in this lane, right? But the problem comes when other teams are going to fight against you, and that's what Fnatic drafted for. That's what they did in their early playstyle. So it has to change in the draft for Rogue to be able to fight back in that early game.
They're on blue side.
I mean, I think they have to deal. They have to deal with the TF Ryze situation. I think they can't leave it unnoticed anymore. It's just crazy to me that teams haven't really figured this out yet. Niski on Ryze and TF, always insane, and I think if they're on the blue side now, maybe they ban one and first pick the other. Maybe they leave both open and pick the Ryze. I think they have a lot of options, but they need to show that they can also do this roaming mid style that Fnatic go for always.
Yeah, I think you're exactly on the money with that, trying to battle over that globals in the mid lane situation. And even if you feel more comfortable on blue side and you want to ban both of them, I'm also completely okay with that. Let's get us back to some stable mid lane champions, because then you can try to play a more calm early game where Niski's not going to be sprinting around killing your sides.
That's what you want. Well, Fnatic's rather magical playoffs run continued in game 1, but we'll see if Rogue can take away some of that momentum.
Jag glemmer alle haten på henne, da.
Folk heter på alt som på alle som på skjermen. Ellers er det en woman på skjermen, og så sier de oh my god, I came. It's a woman. Ellers er det sånn cringe opinion because woman. Enten det eller det.
Jeg synes det var veldig gøy, Skogge, fordi jeg og Oliver satt og så på. Og så skrev jeg, så bare tenkte jeg bare, jeg vil bare poste noe. Så postet jeg Smork. Jeg vil time ut i 10 minutter. Og så kommer det en liten sånn nisse og poster Hitler did nothing wrong. Han blir ikke bannet.
Jeg kan simpelthen ikke sa det han er med.
Det var noe med Hitler i hvert fall.
Jeg synes det er som han smiler.
The official chair of the LEC, okay.
Ja,
Faktisk på stolen her. Du kan sitte som en gamer. Dæsken. Du hadde mange folk som var pålogget på Twitchen din, Simon. En stor liste folk.
En?
En stor liste.
Jeg føler ikke så mange av det. Jeg føler deg.
Åja. Gjør det, ja.
Ja, nei! Fy faen, det var close.
Det var close, hørte jeg. Sånn.
Det er ikke engang en woman på skjermen. Jeg skjønner ikke hvordan du var close til å komme.
Nei, jeg driver og nødslokket, og jeg dæva nesten til en wild fucking... Hva var det? Glammy out.
Ja, de er harsh, though.
Faen, jeg
er Platinum?
Nei, vi spiller romhack av Soul Silver og Hardcore.
Ja, for jeg holdt på å si Platinum. Den Purglin. Det er jo Runkiller.
Ja, den, ja. Ja, det var ikke den her. Det her, jeg driver bare og trener i gresset.
Du er i gresset?
Ja, det er jo tydeligvis stack, det greiene. Jeg har en Pachirisi som carrier i skinnet.
Den er ganske nice.
Er Morty og Yds på samme time?
Nei.
Hvor står det? Vanir.
Ja, men Morty er ikke på Vanir.
Det er en gammel liste.
Nei, altså liste spillere individuelt fra laget. Hvis det er mening.
Det høres ikke noe ut.
Ja, den tierlisten her, det ranker spillere individuelt, og så ranker lagene totalt sett.
Ah.
Welcome back to the LEC semifinals between Rogue and Fnatic. Fnatic drawing first blood in an incredibly dominant performance. Rogue left a little bit reeling. We'll see how they'll adjust coming into the next matchup. Big questions in the pick ban phase. Big questions for Rogue in terms of what strategy they're going to bring to the table this time around. And luckily, I have two very qualified experts here to give me all my answers.
Where's the other one?
Well, it's me and you, and then there's this influencer between us. He's here for the entertainment.
Vi så skjermen. Vi så hva han skal si.
The sandwich of banter. Feels great.
Why do you, whenever you make a joke, why do you lean over like this? What is this?
I don't know.
Skip.
I don't know.
You did on the quiz too, when you were pushing the button, you're always like, ooh. It's like your move.
Yeah, it's my body language. My body language.
Massive. Bringing it back in, as we're moments away now from picks and bans. Adjustment for Rogue has to be the name of the game. We're already seeing some adjustments on the side, and we'll see how that changes their overall strategy.
Drafting?
To demand nothing from the limited but incredibly powerful
Larsen på Rise, question mark? Nei, ban Rise og fikk det til.
I think there's a formula that Fnatic are following, and Rogue just gave it all to them last game. Roaming mid for Niski. Counterpick or engage support for Hylissang. Yep. Counterpick or winning bot lane matchup. Counterpick for top or winning bot lane matchup, right? So one winning side, a roaming mid, and engage / playmaking support for Hilly. They gave it all to them. They banned Pyke on 3, even though they were playing a Morgana lane on red side with counterpick support. Instead of banning Rakan, it was really
bro.
In my opinion, this roaming mid is the
Kan du alle bare få lov til å spille Kennen I årene? Hallo?
They need to walk Niski in mid lane.
Fnatic har enn så lenge de samme bandsene som de hadde sist.
Ok, han vil ha Rise nå, I stedet for Tap. Det litt sykt. Siden Larsen så bra I delen.
Hvis de banner Sinsa nå, så det samme bandsene som sist.
For dem ikke?
Ja. Ja, samme bandene som sist.
Rise, men da kommer Trundle.
But it's Rogue immediately locking in the first pick, Rise for Larsen. Not a pick that we've seen from him a lot recently.
So
make him remember you.
In playoffs. Now we know that he can play the Rise, but it is a bit of a shift from what we've been seeing in Rogue.
Ikke minst han har Trundle, så får de seier Rakan. Det åpen, men jeg kan ta Rakan Trundle, så til å spille til pikken nå.
Viego. Og Kajsa. Det vanlige håpet.
Det viser veldig tydelig at de fikk PTSD av den Shao-gamet.
So this could be the first game where we see Niski locked in mid lane and have to see how Fnatic then adjust their
En
strategy.
uheldig game jungle, men
What do you think, Diego? It was something that we actually saw a lot of from Fnatic during the gauntlet run that they made, and I think it's something that cool.
Well, hey, that's their
Pass?
answer to Rise.
Ja, fikk bra mot Rise.
Cassio used to be a counter.
It used to be a winning matchup, yeah.
Back when I even played mid lane in 2018, this was a good matchup for the Cassio because you can...
Is it still one?
That's the thing I have to question, because Cassio used to be able to build kind of health items, things like Abyssal Mask, Rod of Ages, Tear, and she can scale and match Rise in multiple trades. Now I think she has to go for things like maybe even Conqueror to out-trade him, but it all comes down to movement. I would say it's a skill matchup, you know, Cassio hits the Q, she'll win the trades, Rise cocky movement and gets the push, she's under her tower, so I have to keep her eye on how that progresses. But Sire Rakan, good question, because I think Rakan's open. Fnatic could pick Rakan on 3 here and ban away engage sports, and let's Rogue take it away perhaps.
I think what's crazy is that Fnatic...
Ja, men de har nødt til å lære seg Jace for de skal spille mot Mad Lane som vinner. Og da har han til å enten pikke det eller begynne å
pikke en bort fra armet, ja.
Jeg vil ha mest til å se Jace meet, egentlig. Ikke noe, for det har han fikk Rise. Men han har lyst til at han skal lære seg Jace meet. For det er matchup. Kan pikke veldig speed.
And I like that Rogue put Fnatic in a position where that's the choice they have
to
make. Are you willing to give up some of Hylissang's champion pool to give Adam the counter pick? It appears that yes, they want to cement this community like a good matchup last time around. And now we might just see things like the Rakan. Maybe
Da får han all the midden,
says Rogue didn't like that ban in the previous game taken away here.
Yeah, maybe they want to look for a Kalista, perhaps. We'll have to see. But I think good start by Rogue. I have to say from draft itself, perhaps. We'll have to see how it plays out, of course. But the J should have pushed out the Camille.
Jeg må bare passe på at Hylle ikke gjør noe dumt.
It will be a skill matchup, but Rise can get the push if he wants to. But Fnatic banning out that Draven.
Trenger vi pause her? Ja, jeg trenger pause.
A lot of ADs are up. Ash, Kalista,
Han har på seg stilig skjorte, så de kommer til å vinne I dag.
Draven-bandet. Det her kommer adfare-bandsene. Noen har altså bandet Saya eller Rakan, for at Saya Rakan faktisk farlig. Ja, men det blir fortsatt å pikke Rakan uansett.
They should know that there's Kalista being spelled out here from Fnatic. Look, they're between Zaya. So now you've got Ashe, you've got Kalista. See what progresses.
But
Obviously you've got Jhin as well. You can go a little bit off meta.
Surely if you're Rogue, you're quite happy to take the Ashe into the Kalista matchup, right? Because we know that Han Summer is a very talented Ashe player. It also offers them a form of engage, something they were lacking in the last game. Decent poke as well, especially later on into the game.
But it's a very awkward spot, don't you think? If Fnatic just pick Ashe on 4, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Just
they
would do that, right? Tristana, I didn't think of that. That's also a really good ban. It's almost forcing Fnatic into like, hey, Kalista's a win, why don't you take it?
Yeah, but then again, Fnatic picking Ashe on 4 means it's hard for Rogue to pick Kalista, and they take away the engage for the Ashe. There's a lot of kind of mind games going on here, but I think the point here is there's 6 AD carry bans, so they're gonna have to dig deep if they go past that.
I mean, what other AD carries have we even got left?
Calm.
Okay, so they're actually just
then all the carry.
Have Fnatic take the counter pick. If Rogue
now
lock
Dash,
in Ashe, the question is, what direction does Upset even go? Have we even seen any AD carries outside of this pool that still exist? I'm trying to remember what AD carries are even left. Kog'Maw?
That would be an
Kog'Maw kan! Let's go for en lane!
The spring throwback where there's just the cocky Caitlyn pick.
Samira! Let's go! Altså, AHB Care kan man spille.
I thought they were actually going for a Caitlyn Morgana lane there. I think that they should go for some kind of engage support. Leona fits very well into your comp, as well into the enemy comp. You know, things like this for follow-up would be really important. And again, you could make the argument that cleanse could be a big problem. I think Sivir might be a big upset. Yeah, if they go Poppy support, that's gonna win the lane for sure. I think Sivir Jhin is what you're looking at here for upset.
Ja, Sivir eller Jhin var det jeg tenkte på.
In this moment, will Trimby lock it in? I like it in all the dash champions.
Does it work against Viego's dash too?
It does. It doesn't stop the stun projectile, but it stops his little itty-bitty dash.
No way is he gonna go Lucian AD. I won't talk about hovers, but really strong bot lane coming out here from Rogue. They should get the push. They should have the push in top. They should have the push in mid. Is he gonna pick Kalista Rakan here? Jinx, of course, could be the option.
Wow, when you're put on the spot and you're like, name a champion, you're like, I've forgotten all champions.
Okay, Ziggs is the other one that was kind of odd and interesting that showed up. Kaisa would certainly allow a little bit more mobility in the fights, but very short range.
I think the point here is Fnatic have got a lot of good team fight and they have good answers to the lanes that have been thrown at them. The question is, can they get the push and can they get the skirmishes on an even footing?
Ja, jeg glemte at det var en ting. Og Jinx.
They have great lanes for push.
Nei, Jinx på ting kan.
Not only that, but they have a great 1v1.
Og mot Ashe. Det skjer ikke.
De caster som
my only concern for Fnatic is like, this feels very difficult to execute. It feels like that Kaisa, with her short range, requires you to dive onto the backline. Cassio has to make sure that she's landing all of her skill shots.
Men pikker Kaisa når det var en lure som var pikket? Det er jævlig, ass. Det er vanskelig. Det er en vanskelig match, ass.
On top of that, you're playing into a trundle.
Lulepikke er faktisk bra, fordi at hvis han trodde han kom til å pikke Kaisa. For det føltes veldig rart hvis det ikke er Kaisa. Men jeg synes jeg er veldig glad i Kaisa. Den kom til å ikke. Nei, kom.
Det er en stund siden sett Kaisa.
I think that Rogue have maybe broken Fnatic's formula here a little bit. We'll have to see how they do, but this is not a very Fnatic draft you think of, especially from the mid lane pick, I have to say, especially.
I very much agree. This one's going to be an interesting one. Fnatic versus Rogue. They're going to be jumping into Game 2 very soon. A spot in the finals on the line and an opportunity to dodge play-ins at Worlds. Fnatic had a very strong performance in Game 1. Let's see if Rogue can bring it back in Game 2.
Jeg som hadde lyst til å se G2 Rogue i dag, men G2 hadde bare lyst til å bare ikke være med i Worlds. Happen.
Down, but
se på stolen, da.
Rogue now looking to strike back in Game 2. They've adjusted their draft. They've answered a lot of the things that have made them so successful in their past series, and now we have to see if they can execute.
Ja, det er jo reklame, du. Lekk har jo egne headset, egne stoler, egne flasker. Ja, spillerne sitter og drikker fra lekkflasker.
Alle lager det lekk.
L-I-C, da.
So, from what I recall, the reason why Cassio used to be a good matchup into Ryze was because Ryze, even though he's ranged, is actually quite a short ranged mage. You know, he's a pretty strong duelist, but Cassio, basically the moment you try to step up to her, she can lock you down, she can out-trade you. If you want to do damage, you kind of have to implant yourself to a degree, which means that landing her ultimate is also that much easier. And then when you combine that with Miasma, in terms of the straight-up 1v1, she can actually out-duel and outperform versus the Ryze. I think that I can see in the 1v1 how it can definitely be strong. More of my concerns come from, as you rightly said, in the context of the comp, how she's really going to function, actually get that damage off.
Yeah, I think the lane will be a skill matchup. The team fights will be something else, because Fnatic, I think, as much as they have nice CC at level 6, early game, really hard to lock down this Ryze, I have to say. Whereas you look on the side of Rogue, you know, one pillar, one, you know, Ryze root, I think that Cassio can't really move.
And I think it is also important that we keep an eye on these TPs from the side of Fnatic, how crucial they are, if they can find any cheeky little advantages.
I think to a conquer grab. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The upset can try to trade back a little bit, but really no options here. Lulu in the early game, so oppressive.
Yeah, we talked about the lane phase, the blind pick Rakan coming in, Ashe and Lulu pushing in, winning trades, outranging. Fnatic tried to step up, maybe they wanted to contest the level 1. In the end, they fall short.
Obviously, it's a bot lane, but can we just talk about how insane Hans Summit is? Like, this guy, regardless of who he's playing against, will flash forward to try and get himself 2v2 kills. During the regular season for me, oh, gank mid.
Hold on to that thigh. Inspired now. Point quick on the CC. No room to outplay that one. Larson grabbing the kill and walking off.
And this time, the early game is already so
Larson
much
did not
better
grab the
for
kill.
Rogue. 2 versus 2 kill in the bot lane that doesn't get punished. They find a successful gank in mid lane. The Ryze is just barely going to go back to base and will be able to TP back into the lane. Everything working out nicely for Rogue.
And I was nervous when we saw this because
again, early Sapphire as
well, and Fnatic shut it down so early, but this time around they drafted
Oliver.
This is the Rogue that we know. The team that
Oliver, du vet at du ikke kan dra early game. Ja, du vet at du ikke kan dra i early game. Nei, han Sama bare smurfa på botlane, og så ganka Inspired Niski, og da var det bare ferdig snakka.
Troll King!
Ja, men var det veldig da?
Niski engaging straight away with the flash because he knows Inspired doesn't have it from the earlier gank, and Hylissang doing Hylissang things, diving at tier 1, level 2.
Nei, hvis Hylissang har gjort Hylissang things, da har han dødd.
The game is evened up, and it's not in Fnatic's favor.
Oh, wow. The fact that Cassio gets the double buff, the fact that they're also able to punish, the fact that Larson just TP'd back into lane, Inspired tried to take a fight against Bwipo that he was winning, and if he was allowed to just keep slapping Bwipo in the face, he would have been able to get that kill. But the most important thing is Hylissang, and I'm going to bring up the minimap here. So notice where he's positioning himself in the river right now, and he is immediately roaming up towards the fight. That is why Niski knows that he can flash for this play, because they're guaranteed a numbers advantage. So Larson recognizes, I can't commit to this, I can't actually trade back the kills, and they're able to turn it around.
Hylissang giveth, Hylissang take it, dies 2v2, but then gets you a kill in mid. So Hylissang roaming, Trimby couldn't match.
Guardian proc too.
We had Nolan in top, Adam looks like he had to flash away after taking a trade, Odoamne leveling up. And now we're back to live. Niski still has those double buffs. We're both just standing behind him to make sure that he can get this push in. And if they can keep this mid push, they can move around the map.
And now look at the CS difference in mid lane. Thanks to that, what should have been a great start for Larson in the mid lane, the opportunity for him to start roaming around the map, really starting to enable his team. He's now actually down in CS. He's playing against a double buff Cassio. And while that was a good trade, you can also see one of the situations where Ryze can struggle into the straight up 1v1.
Yeah, good news, of course, he's got the phase rush, so he can get out of the trades, and he can certainly follow up. And Niski with the Conqueror are going to do a ton of damage. The second that poison is on Larson, he has to hightail it out of there. Bwipo already making his way up to the top side of the map. It's clear. Upset and Hylissang going to live on a bit of an island. Well, mostly Upset, as Hylissang's probably going to leave the island soon. But Bwipo ready for the top dive if they can set it up, but I think too hard at this point in the game.
Yeah, important thing to note here. Bwipo didn't get spotted because he ran around the plant, but Inspired's been sitting on a ward for a while, so Niski knows exactly where he is. Hans pushing in bot will keep the pressure. It's all about the mid lane right now. Larson doesn't have flash, Bwipo doesn't either, neither does Niski. It could be a 2v2, but Inspired looks like he just wants to counter jungle, give up the push, maybe look for some kind of bot lane plays here. No TPs on the map whatsoever. Upset Hilly, a bit of a bad trade.
Upset already low. Hylissang, long cooldown on that battle dance.
Look at Bwipo.
Options.
Both Bwipo and Niski already on their way down to offer support. They recognize how important it is that Upset and Hilly do not lose this wave. And the roam down will offer that assistance, and Inspired wasn't able to get a counter jungle off. Now Odoamne all in.
Going forward. Adaptive Fence is getting Adam a little bit of a shield here. Hookshot wall dive will probably have to take him out to safety, but losing out in these trades, Odoamne finally allowed the isolated 1v1 on top side.
Odo actually had kill pressure there. If he just kind of flashed forward, full committed, and cancelled his E on Camille there, just decides to take the trade and back off. Anyway, for now, Rogue, like we said in draft, keeping these pushing side lanes for sure. Mid lane obviously getting pushed in a little bit because of the skirmishes and the double buffs. And Rogue, I think they need to start moving around the map. We saw Trimmy just moving up the river now, but now helping out Larsen's what they need to do. Hylissang, Inspire's right behind them, has to be careful.
Not quite the fight that he's looking for, but Wupo may be looking to take it anyway. They've now got in on Hansama. That's going to be big. He's been polymorphed, but it's not going to be enough. Hansama taken out.
Polymorph.
He can pick up the Ash if he wants to. No, didn't contribute to the kill, so he will not have a soul to grab. But Fnatic again, ganking, collapsing on the bottom side. Trimby overstaying his welcome just a little bit here. Will manage to walk this one out, but Fnatic now unrestricted access to that bottom tower.
There is a reason why Hylissang's Rakan is actually known worldwide, and it is because he is very good at this champion. That setup was beautiful from Fnatic once.
Han är väldigt glad att gå in.
Väldigt glad att gå in. From committing to that earlier 2 versus 2 kill. Hylissang recognizes that, hard committed to the play, but now we see another play in mid.
Niski immediately going to go throw down the ultimate. Larsen, could he just get killed?
Pilar.
Niski, it does get he takes, he burns! 1 for 1 from Niski. That has to hurt for Rogue.
Yeah, that's massive for Fnatic. They're winning out on every single fight. They're matching numbers, Rogue, but they just keep losing the skirmishes. Larsen needed to sidestep that one, but even then he's in a skirmish team. He's stuck, and that's the power of Casio into Rise. Like you said, Hylissang dying 2v2, but still being able to find kills in bot and roam towards mid despite being pushed in. Fantastic performance so far.
Absolutely, and now the gold, dead even. Rogue, they had so much going from the early game, but it feels like Fnatic are always finding ways to force these skirmishes, to get these advantages in situations where other teams might not have been able to. Hylissang willing to give up bot lane pressure to go make these plays, but willing to come down into 3v3 because they've isolated Hansama despite the allies standing next to him. Fnatic firing back. Rogue, though, holding on to the gold lead. Yes, for Larsen, difficult that he did go down, but still overall getting some gold in the pocket of Inspire never hurts.
I mean, the only real bad news for Fnatic here is that Hylissang got all the kills. And if he was on Pyke, obviously they'd be a little bit happier, but on this Rakan, he's not going to offer the same value, so on, with upset with that money. So I'd still say that right now, Rogue are still a little bit ahead in terms of where that gold is sitting. Larsen has already picked up his tier 2 boots and decided to go for the Merc Treads, as Niski is getting so much closer to already completing his first mythic item.
Yeah, despite all these fights, let's say that Larsen and Niski having won, both side lanes are winning out for Rogue. Odoamne up in CS, keeping Adam under tower. Hans and Trimby up in CS, keeping Upset under tower. And they're getting tower plates in both these side lanes, which means that Inspired can get Herald and can start pushing these neutral objectives. So these skirmishes for Fnatic are going good. The only real thing they have going for them is the mid push. And like you said, 2 of the kills went to Hylissang, so not even the greatest of outcomes. Yes, they're outplaying in the skirmishes, but these winning lanes of Rogue are slowly paying off.
Certainly are. Odoamne already a serrated dagger, or serrated dirk rather, building slowly towards his mythic item. Adam, in the previous game, it was the hook shot that really allowed him to set up for these kills, that allowed him to find success, but of course the allies that really made it work in the end. This time he is playing on an island.
That
this time he's
Larsen?
Isolated.
Nope, it did not spot Larsen. I don't think they know he's here, but there is a pink one on Krug, so they should see him. Adam might realize too late. He's knowing something's up top side, but he's going to walk back to the tower because Whip was behind him. Niski has TP up in around 5 to 10 seconds here.
Fired holding the pillar, waiting. He doesn't manage to clip Adam. Adam now going to try to walk his way out of this one. Good little bit of damage, and of course they're taking a lot of experience away from him, but now Fnatic, the TP, the counterplay. Niski on the way up, he has the ultimate Inspired. The last one waiting under the tower. Niski now chasing down the Trundle, ready to go forward. That's going to be the ulti now burned. Inspired has to run for his life. Odoamne going too. Whippo now ulting forward. Spectral Mon not going to be necessary as Fnatic find a kill in the exchange.
Oh my word, and Fnatic is able to turn this play back around in their favor. And the whole play, the biggest thing I was thinking of was the difference between when Fnatic made this play last game and Rogue making it this one. And it was Hylissang. When Fnatic make these dives where they have to commit between 2 towers, they're doing it with 4 people, they're doing it with an engaged support. They have someone that can make sure that any mobility cannot get away from them. Rogue committing 3 ends up getting matched because Niski has the TP, and now they're threatening the dive top lane.
Odo has to be careful here. There's 3 members of Fnatic, but they have to crash the wave before they can look to anything.
Det är står där vänta.
Niski taking the tower though. Now going to flash out, now going to make it out to safety, locked up, knocked down. Fnatic clean dive.
The top side's fallen apart for Rogue, all because of that overextension. The first sign of life we saw from them, Larsen moving out of lane, having a stacked wave, top Inspired was there. Overcommit, Fnatic punish, they take all their top side camps, and then they dive Odoamne. Guess the good thing is Hans has been in isolation this whole time. Still up in CS, pushing in bot, Upset, abandoned that lane and went towards mid, so they have that going for them. They have a Herald still, they're going to get a Dragon, but Fnatic are finding ways to deal with these winning lanes.
But it surprises me, because you talked about Larsen TPing in mid, it seems that Rogue had no awareness that Fnatic was sitting in their topside jungle. The fact that that could even be a possibility, otherwise you would imagine the Larsen would hold his TP.
Yeah, everything just looks really disjointed from Rogue. I think you saw when Inspired died there on the camera. Frustration.
Men Hyllising har 2 kills.
Ja, det det som problemet.
Will respect it. Will know that they're all still topside. Rogue got themselves a bot tower. Nothing to sweat about just yet. He'll wait for him to back off and then come
camping
back
top.
to the tower. But Hilly really wants to find this play.
And you guys were already talking about Hyllisang, and I think we might have to do it again here, depending on when Odoamne wants to step forward. Hyllisang not going to take the bait, will just back away. But Hyllisang, a player with an incredible amount of experience. You might know him from Unicorns of Love if you're an OG fan, but obviously
Unicorns of Love
has been wildly successful. A guy who has been in so many finals, who has been such a huge catalyst for so many teams. I think it's natural that we have to keep an eye Ash Arrow.
Random.
That thought, Adam now locked up, now stunned up.
Yeah, it's random.
Can he finish Adam?
Okay. Det var underlig
They can turn right back to the tower, and finally Rogue have found a play to punish.
Okay, han sama.
Yeah, they have Herald as well, so if they want to crack open this top tower, they're going to do so. Bot tower's already dead, top tower's already dead. Yes, they've made a lot of mistakes in these skirmishes, but Odoamne with the incredible solo performance there, individually outplaying in a sense where he snipes out Adam after the flash, saves his flash for so long when Whipple's on top of him, despite being on 1 HP, and then flashes the ultimate to get 2 kills for Rogue. Maybe they want to look for more here.
Han har mye gold nå,
Adam has TP. If they're overextending here, they could get collapsed on.
Han sama.
I feel like so much of the credit needs to go to Hansama though with the setup on
Blades bot, Blades top, 2 kills.
This is an old Rogue classic. Play around bot lane, invest in your bot lane, and move Hansama and Tribute around the map. He has a rough idea of
big brain arrow, liksom?
Ja, det var
Men hvis han under turreten der, så kan han ikke gjøre noe. Men bare stoppe for backe.
Great performance from Rogue. That shot towards top side really opened up Rogue in terms of the map, and then because of the Bwippo
Sama litt for god spiller, ass.
But he wasn't quite expecting Hansama to be there.
Yeah, great play from Rogue. They're heading gold. They've taken out both side
Og
lanes here.
da, total gold.
Se på gold der, det er det jeg sier.
Han
har så mye gold. Ligger 1000 gold fra Niski, som er 4-2-1.
Hvordan i helvete er det noe høyere? Niski har høyere farm og sånn 3 farm mindre.
Blades, bro.
Og så fikk han også first turret. Det er jo 600 gold straight up der.
First golden,
ja, det gjorde han jo.
Han var helt jævlig sånn. Men han har ikke bounty. Let's go.
Ja. Men når Niski bare... Ok, Niski er 4... Når fuckings noen andre bare farmer, liksom. Larsen bare farmer, har ikke noen kills, bare bounty.
Faen, til og med det bare tok varden fra hans.
Being in mid, he's going to get pushed in. Niski will be under tower, the strongest member playing with no TP, which allows Hans to move top, bot, and keep pressure on these side lanes. So, the first time in the series, Rogue in control of the map.
Certainly are. And the thing that I'm always thinking about is cleanse. You talked about it in the draft, Kadril. Obviously, upset, an insta-lock for the cleanse, right? There's no reason you're not going to run that against the Ashe. But Niski, he's a huge damage threat, and he's going to be a prime target for Hansama. He's going to be looking for the opportunity to land that arrow onto him, to shut that Cassio down, and it's going to make the team fighting so much easier.
Litt sånn noob-question her. Cleanser du etter noe kapititt her, eller cleanser du før? Det er ikke noe barrier, liksom.
Det tar jeg kanskje.
Jeg har aldri brukt cleanse. Aldri.
Oi!
Just brute forcing this, getting deep vision, they could get collapsed upon. Hans might arrow from red buff here.
He's got an arrow, he's got a hot
shot.
Inspired, they're gonna be able to burst him down. Already using the blast code. It's Whipple on top of Inspired and Tribute, but they're gonna focus down the Lulu. She's just so squishy, but no, she wild ghosts herself. Whipple's still stepping forward, trying to find the reset. He's desperate again.
Wild growth.
Find it. Upset now gonna be in trouble as Larson steps forward. All eyes on Arrow. The arrow goes wide, but Upset has the cleanse. The ulti gonna hit 3, but there is no follow-up damage.
Skal det sånn oppover? Men hvor faen er Niski? Enda? Ja, enda. Ok, tid for leash! Hei, team, kan du hjelpe meg med Herald? Hva faen?
Hansama har noe bounty. Han ligger jævlig
det sto i bounty fra 0 til 250. Hva er det for noe garbage? Timby spiller det jævla, holy fuck. Se på han.
Jeg synes de fokuserer litt for mye på Trumby.
Nei, de trenger det. De har nødt til å få vekk... Når han er vekk nå, så burde han kanskje trene, tenker jeg. Men han har brukt så mye på han. Og vi jager litt på reset, sånn sett, for han har brukt så mye på han. De prøver seg på... Kom igjen, Trymby! Let's go! Faen, Trymby var hester. Det var en mime.
Niski TP'd in. They thought they were going for a fight there. Yes, Fnatic get the dragon, but Niski TP's away from top lane.
Ocean Soul.
All the way back there.
Ocean Man.
What the call was, and now with Larsen being back in the game, he was so far behind in the early stages against the Casio with double buffs. Now he's got himself 3 kills. Has a shutdown. 50 gold. Should win out on this side lane against Niski. Very mobile Cassiopeia.
Altså, Ashe er så sykt skjæpe. Kom igjen, kom igjen,
Ja,
så skyt ut.
Jeg har spilt deg litt, men jeg får ikke akkurat til å spille hun som...
Ja, men hun er bedre i fulltid, men hun har talt som kan bare hoppe.
Jo, ja.
Hun er en AD-carry som dealer giga-damage og gir så mye til streamet.
A lot of weight on his shoulders right now to show up in these fights to get value out of this pick, his counter pick into this rise.
Yeah, interesting map reads coming out from Rogue here. They think the Fnatic's looking for a bot play, but they're doing 2 things at once. They're covering Niski.
Jeg kan gjøre det der.
Bot play arrow going on to Adam.
We just can't miss Odoamne jumping forward.
Ja, bare ferdig snakket, liksom.
Det der er så sykt.
Maybe just going to save his life. The
flash
Han er ikke ut, ass. Det kan jeg sikkert.
Er det hookshot? Hookshot?
Saves his top laner. Adam was all but dead there. I think Rogue should have had that kill. Meanwhile, Larsen flashed away in the top side.
Ashe er halvvis til å få den ultimaten tilbake igjen. Let's go. Fair ability.
Trying to get out, but they're going to lose their mid tower as expected from the Herald.
But I like what we're seeing here from Rogue. Proactive use of the Ashe Arrow ultimate. Hansam, I think, is 3 for 3 so far in this game. He does not seem
Han fikk en charge til.
He is on point, looking for opportunities to help Rogue find themselves a pick. Of course, Larsen is being the target of focus on the side lane. Fnatic doing what
kjører Niski. Er noe spesiell grunn til at Niski kjører Ludens og Cosmic Drive på hun? Jeg trodde Burn-build var bedre på hun.
Det er ikke så mye tank i folk. Han er så bursten med Jace eller Ashe.
Fnatic have realized where their best setup lane is. It's not the Cassio lane. You can't really find a CC engage onto Rise. It's going to be on the
egentlig bare kanskje en champ hvor det ikke er nødvendig til Brand.
Svein, da?
Svein, du tar sikkert lydens bane her, så.
Jeg tror bare bildet han er sier med
And this is big, of course, for the side of Rogue. Fnatic opted to run the Camille back into the Jace this time, feeling like they had success the first time around. The fact that it's now working in favor of Rogue. The Rogue put their faith in Odoamne 2 times in a row on this Jace, even after the struggles in Game 1, is massive for the team moving forward in the series because it means Fnatic at some point may need to answer this pick.
Well, I think that even in the laning phase, Odoamne has had 2 pretty good laning phases, except the biggest difference was I really do feel like that in the mid lane is where we're seeing the difference. Something that I felt really strongly about in the draft was Arrow.
Oi, Arrow.
Ville han gjøre på Erikan? Det føltes veldig rart.
Okay, Hansama, yes, he did land it, but that was a little easier one. Yeah, he's still 4 for 4. Yep. He's still 4 for 4. But it's not going to result in the cooldown. Going to be relatively short. It's not going to be a cloud rift, but it will be that ocean Drake spawning very soon.
Skal vi se den shaken bakover I sånn sist, liksom.
Because they don't have that same mid-lane agency that they've had in the prior games. Niski's been so impactful in being able to snowball.
Han bruker sånn subbalert greie.
Helt sykt å se på.
Det er sånn klipp at han sånn 3 stykker foran seg, sånn på spring fram, og så skyter oi.
There was no real way to stop them.
Yeah, Fnatic just keep doing the same play over and over, looking for top plays, looking for silent plays, trying to find a pick to slowly open up the map, because it's really a struggle for them right now. They are going to have control of the river, but they won't be able to force anything just yet unless Rogue do face check. And it feels like Niski wants to be involved in the side lane plays with Adam, with Hylissang, but he can't. The champion doesn't allow it. He only doesn't have TP up, and he's in a mobile mage, so he needs to scale and be
reliable. Men så han ikke Niski gå, eller?
Mobile, det er jo bare for at den ikke har boot.
Fnatic having some map pressure for now, but Rogue will
I have
group up.
no
Det er problemet til
One
kanskje
thing
at
I think Nisqy
den
can do
ikke har en
is
måte
help
å
Fnatic
escape
get
på,
control
hvis
over
du
the Drake, because as we talked about in last
bare
game,
blir,
when you don't have that
kan
much
bli veldig
utility in terms
fokus
of
og hard.
setup, what you can do is
Ja,
have
du
your
har
opposition
kunnet-
walk into you.
Du har faktisk
And
ingen
if
måte
you
å komme
start
opp.
off the
Har
Drake
kunnet
and
escape,
force
nei.
the Rogues to come into the Casio, then the Casio is going to have a much easier
Kjøre
time.
båt,
So
boots.
we've just seen the reset come through from the Casio.
I
We can see
have no
Upset pushing
boots.
out that bot wave as well, and it looks to me like Fnatic wants to set up on this Drake and force Rogue into a fight.
14 seconds remaining. Looking at the cooldowns, Upset has the cleanse up and available. Nisqy, of course, no defensive
Men det er jo
cooldowns
en
to his
snake
main
with no
Illusion. Does not
boots.
have a Mikhail's for him yet. Could be a difficult
Nick,
fight. Arrow now
no
coming in. Is
boots.
it 5 for 5? Ooh,
Oh.
4 for 5, 80% not bad, but not hitting Nisqy makes the coming dragon that much easier. That said, Rogue don't seem too interested in the
People?
objective quite yet. Whipple forced to flash away. Rogue have mid lane priority
Well done.
access if they want it, but Fnatic
Oh,
again
the
turn their
question
focus
mark.
back to this Drake. Rumble coming
Oh, de går Baron!
They wanna just trade
Oi,
one for
Baron,
one.
what?
They're not in the pit.
Den
That's
kommer
not
på
where they want to be.
picken.
It's a TP on the top side for Odo. Now Rogue have the first
Hæ?
setup. Rogue can
Hva?
force Fnatic to walk into them, but they don't have
De skulle ta
Hva er det
Baron,
som skjer?
men rangen på Raze-ulten var ikke lang nok til å komme seg inn i pitten.
That ward by the Baron pit actually spotted them out. Oh, maybe it didn't. Polymorph on
Ok, fuck. Ok, piler der! Helt sykt, ass! Ok, men det er ingen som følger med. Det er ingen som følger med. Alle sammen, vent. Er det inn, spør? Ah.
Nei, altså,
My bad.
det er da han snur seg liksom
Yeah, they couldn't get into the
question
dragon
mark
pit. They didn't
ping
have
i
the
team.
Ashe.
Ja, de bare ulta, og de bare...
Trying to get a pick before it started.
De trykka på ulten for de antok at de var innenfor rangen på Baron, og så var de ikke det. Så sånn, ah.
In the pit, but they found
Ja,
themselves a pick
ja
that
da.
ward. Didn't spot out whether they were on it or not, and now they're going to start it up. Whippo has ultimate in the pit, but no flash. Nisqy no flash either. Hansama's arrow is coming back up, and Larsen almost...
Han sa det kanskje ikke så nærme. Hallo?
Getting lower, they're not going to
Ah,
finish.
eller skal
Han
han
er jo
bare
frontline, ja.
Hold da.
That's the reset that they're waiting for. Whippo now gets to
Han sa meg frontline.
Nei, de drepte ikke!
Det er Whippo er så fett på Ashen. Ja.
Jeg forstår ikke hvorfor han står sånn.
Han var jo frontline.
Do they have enough in the tank to force the Baron?
I think they do with the Cassiopeia. This should be as all but gone. I think Rogue
Det var
a little bit
disastrous fight,
disjointed
ass.
in the comms again.
Ja, vent,
Whippo's
de
off
har
to the
lurer.
side. They
Å,
tried to turn,
herregud,
but what
de
are they
lurer
turning
alle
with?
på taket.
Larsen wasn't in range, didn't have flash up just yet. The arrow, yes, it did go a bit wide, I think. I'm not sure if it connected,
Nei,
but
det
still,
er
the
på
trade
gjennom lyden.
Kan du fikse lyden? Liksom? Kan du gå inn?
Lyden?
Du er litt
Kan du gå inn og ut?
ja, ass. Ja, ass. Kaller man det.
So they
didn't
see
see them
the Baron's been
whatsoever.
started, but they actually have no information. So they're going to face check
Oh,
this,
vent, hva
thinking
skjedde?
that they
Ah,
can
nei.
contest the Baron,
Det skjedde
but then
bare.
Adam is going to end up losing his life. So a good initial pick coming out from Rogue means that they're in a great position. Now this Miasma stops the follow-up very well from Fnatic, but here we see the commitment from Rogue onto the Baron.
Hvorfor stiller ikke han sammen da?
Larsens flash isn't up just yet. Hans has
Ja,
arrow coming up,
han
but let's keep
går
on
jo frem og er frontline.
They look for Nisqy.
Vel, det hadde funket hvis de ikke har fått bitt på når de kommer og kjører på den bakfra.
Jo.
Engage onto the stacking
Det er jo det at
Ja, hvis at Lars har fått Nisqy, så ville det vært veldig
Wow, I'm
andre.
surprised that
Ja.
Rogue didn't win that turn. Nisqy looked pretty dead. He had no flash, but great engage from Hylissang, and maybe Hans just mispositioning there a bit.
That was such a crazy ultimate from Upset as well, because he basically mitigated the damage with the shields from his ult,
Oh my
and he was also
God.
in range
here we go.
of Whippo. Now we see the collapse.
Så foregår, oi.
Er det der player?
Hva som skjer her?
Så han død! Drep Nisqy! Åh, no.
Nå tiltflere her.
Big up stopwatch.
Det er Sonia så er jeg glad, ass. Faen for et
Nei, det er stopwatch. Det har ikke sånne og sånne. Jeg liker stopwatch. Altså, jeg synes ikke Sonia er problemet. Jeg synes faktisk stopwatch er problemet, for at du har den når du skal bilde GE, og du har den når du skal bilde Sonia, så du bare har den så tidlig.
Odoamne trying to push in mid, trying to find some kind of pressure point, but Fnatic have the bigger one. They're pushing in top, looking for Nisqy, no flash. This might be dead here.
Nisqy tries to trade back to poison ticking, but it might not be enough. Odoamne enough healing coming in from the Omni.
Ja, altså, burn actually. Jeg greier han å burne så mye, han har lyd.
Han har ikke Leandre sin. Hva for det galt for det?
Let's look at this again, because Odoamne
Det
is
er
involved.
bare
Look at the
Cassie
minimap, but
Poison.
Fnatic are 5 man.
Skulle han sammen være med? Ja, han sammen break med. Oh no!
Det har
No!
Left
Oh,
behind.
the say where
Han sendte meg en arrow
Then collapse
for å
Hylissang as dashes
huske
to
på
gap
han.
close. So all they lose is Adam. Nisqy stopwatch to buy time. Odoamne is just like, guys, I can't join this
Guys.
fight.
guys.
It seems like Rogue was not expecting this level of collapse. They were not expecting all five.
Kan man ikke ulte sånn at han sa vi ikke være med? Hva var det for noe?
You can see the
Det var litt krise.
A bit of dark Whippo there as well as the shadows cover his face. You
know that he's on a tear right now. 2-2-10. Har på oss allerede, så det går bra.
So far in this series, and Fnatic, they have control over the gold lead. They still have, 10 seconds left on the Baron, so they're likely not going to get much off the back of this, and now they're looking for a pick on the Larsen. TP onto Niski.
Yes, Realm Warp coming up soon. It's not up just yet. Hylissang doesn't have flash, but Upset has Killer Instinct to gap close. I think he should be out here, but I think now they're going to turn towards Dragon. After this bot tier,
Upset bare randomly ble 5-2.
I was just looking at the minimap, but I noticed these wards. Such deep wards from Fnatic littered through the rogue jungle as well, so the potential for a TP flank was very real there from Niski, but decided he doesn't want to overcommit. But they have full information on where Rogue is, they know where the jungler is, and that means that Whippo can quite comfortably start up the Drake.
Larsen inspired on the top side, easy Drake pickup. Rogue not even going to walk to try to contest this one as Upset breaks down the mid lane tower. Fnatic, they were falling behind in gold pretty steadily, but now clearly in control. 3K to their name. Soul point as well on Ocean Rift. Very bad news for the chase. For the before these fights get kicked off. Hylissang as well. So we have to keep our eye on as he goes deeper and deeper.
Kan vi ikke se varene? Det er jo så jævla.
Careful. If they lose another fight, they could lose this game.
They're spotted on that ward. They're going to fight now, though.
Highlighted. Hylissang now running for his life. He's going to dash back outside. Inspired, isolated. Will get taken down. Hylissang going back over the wall. He's unconturned, but instantly they're turning it back. Again, taking away Hansama. This man just does not get to play these fights. Volley will not connect onto the backside of Rogue.
Running it back.
Han får jo ikke lov til å være med.
Trading Hansama for Hylissang.
Ends up being a 1-for-1, but I don't know if you really want to give up Hansama like that. Fnatic going to be pretty comfortable with that trade as they look for another pick up. Whippo.
En stykk?
Difficult for him to get out. Hook shot wall right now. Oh, Niski! Flash over the wall.
Oh my god.
Niski bare jobber litt for bra.
Fnatic again finding a pick and finding the fight.
Yeah, Fnatic just look unstoppable at this point.
8-4. Jeg vil bare nevne en ting. At jeg har på Lek Fantasy valgt Niski, og jeg har valgt Sharp Blade, som gir meg 2 poeng for hvert kill han har.
Ok, Larsen!
For hvert kill Niski får, så bare blir jeg mer glad.
Yeah, we wondered how this Cassio would gap close, but with that flash forwards and 3 members of Rogue stacked up on top of Miasma, she can just free it, can't she?
It was giving me vibes back from the Splice days for Niski, and the 2 versus 5, when Niski was able to showcase his Cassio mechanics. And I think he's having another very solid performance here today. Not afraid to flash and knows that he has the numbers advantage, knows that he has the follow-up from his team. And Fnatic just look so good. Let's have a look back and see him actually make this play.
Yeah, so that's one.
Nyvaska.
Rogue think they found themselves a pick. Yes, Rogue is there, but the TP's come in.
Se, han sprang litt for langt oppe.
Han sprang veldig langt frem, og så bare...
Han sprang jævlig langt oppe, actually.
The fight looks over here when Larsen gets away. But then it's just this brush. Trimby thinks that Whippo's overextending in a second here.
I mean, it feels like he's overextending, right? Like, Whippo is basically in a 1 versus 3 in this situation, and you're like, what are you doing? You don't even have ult up or flash.
Then Niski comes in.
Then Niski comes in. Beautiful ultimate. The Miasma comes down as well. And the follow-up damage from the rest of the team. And, you know, we've talked a lot about it.
Bare Vego, sånn at din champion. Se på en skjorta. Se på en skjorta. Han har på seg Keg-skjorte, det er derfor den vinner. Hver gang jeg måtte ikke har på seg Keg-skjorte, så er han vunnet.
Oh
my lord!
Jeg var en kombo der. Viego inn i
rolig trykk på Upset, da.
Resurrecting on the GA, Larsen going golden, but it's too little. It is too late.
Holy motherfucker.
Instantly pop the engage, and Rogue don't react in time. He gets the knock up, really good collapse, and that's going to put Fnatic onto match point.
This time around, it felt like Rogue had what they needed in the early game. Yes, Fnatic fought back, but Rogue held onto that gold lead. They got Hansama ahead. He found the arrows. They found their advantage.
Det jungle mid-bots jeg har valgt som Fnatic, så det så langt så ser det veldig clean ut for meg.
Yes, they didn't have the same level of control that they had in game 1. But what we said in draft was that this composition
Skal vi se hva chat har å si om det her da?
execute in the fight, and lo and behold, they went and executed in the
Er
fight.
Yeah, Rogue
Omega
to me
Lul.
just look a little bit broken, especially from the plays that they're making. Now that this draft didn't work out, they chose red, they chose blue. What's really
Reverse
left in the
sweep
tank for Rogue? You
Copium?
think of Mad Lions, incredible environment. They're losing, they're laughing, they're having fun.
Points
Fnatic, they have this
Copium?
brotherhood of the mountain and this mantra that goes around them to never give up. But Rogue, are they really going to be able to bounce back from a 2-0 deficit?
I think it's certainly difficult, especially now when we know Niski is willing to take the Casio, the champion.
Rogue
Maybe the
Omega
one thing
Lul.
we thought they could target for him is now continuing to grow, it's
Er
continuing to
Omega
expand. And
Lul
for Fnatic, they're on
GE?
the verge of completing a historic run in the lower bracket and securing their spot in the LEC Summer Finals. Join us for a preview of Game 3 after this break.
Clean. Skal vi se om det her har oppdatert seg. Allerede fra first game, ganske clean points på Oi da. Ja. Det er jo sånn når du må velge 5 stykker, og det kan bare være 3 fra en klubb, så må jeg jo velge noen da. Men det er ganske clean her, ja. Se på Liske, ja. Jobbe. Ja da, ja. Vi trenger ikke den der. Å nei, vent litt, vi må sjekke. Katja. Gøy å se på chat.
Å ja.
EU Music Dance Game. Hold it, chat. Hold it. Snart kommer det. Allerede Katjama har begynt. Skip song, please.
Red er vel L9, ok.
Hold it, chat. Hold it.
Hva faen skjedde nå? Hvorfor ble jeg... Oh, fuck, den ble jenka.
Jeg elsker Twitch-chat, ass.
Hyller catcha. Stream volume 200%, baby.
Du, hva er den andre add-onen som gir meg Rat Jam og sånne ting, Oliver? Fordi det er folk som driver og skriver Rat Jam og sånn.
Better TV, tror jeg. Jeg er sikker.
Er ikke den jeg har, da? Jeg har Better TV allerede.
Franker C. Du må søke opp det søkt først imot album. Kanskje husk på det.
Global Twitch emotes.
Ok.
Vi adder den, vet du. Ja, add to Chrome.
Oi, det var porno.
Ja, der ja. Legg til utvidelsen. Sånn.
Skjeva.
Hvem faen er det? Ok, alle må huske på det at jeg har... Det er Smash-palla, eller hva faen? Bean?
Smash-palla?
Ja, det var noe sånt som sto bak på t-skjorta hans, da. Rogue-coachen er skuffa. Rogue-coachen er så skuffa.
Skje på han. Hvem faen er han?
De har med seg Rogue Girl. Det kan Who's been?
Welcome back, everyone, to the LEC Studio. Fnatic have faced elimination time and time again in the summer playoffs, but tonight the Faithful are about to be rewarded if it keeps going this way. Fnatic could be one game away from returning to the LEC finals. Before we see kind of what happens, that in itself is kind of insane.
Just insane, the fight they put up in playoffs and just the rapid improvement as well. I do feel like playing 15 games now, 17 after the 2 days, you have so much more time to gel together as a team. They've only been getting better, and they are one of the scrappiest teams. Like, this team does not back down once they lose. Like, this game was a tough game for them, and they fought back all the way.
Yeah, Trace, I think, you know, we got to talk about both perspectives, so I'm just...
Please, no shocks monologue.
How does this keep happening? But then again, you also have to congratulate the winning team. So talk to me about how Fnatic was able to come back in this game. We're going to take a look at the Baron comeback fight.
Yeah, I think in general, Fnatic just looked sharper on the day. I think Rogue this game, they had a pretty decent goal lead, and I think they felt pretty comfortable in the game. And then this Baron fight started off like this entire just horrible sequence for them. And I think it's not really Rogue's fault. I think they do make a lot of correct calls, but it just feels like they don't really have the champions on the correct people to win these fights.
And the initial pick here is really good from Rogue, right? The ward on the Baron pit was just out of range, so Fnatic sort of walked in to the fog of war here, but we were sort of talking about behind the stage, like, Rogue do not like to go for coin flips on the Baron, so they're looking to turn off of this fight. And watch Hansama's positioning, walking up, walking towards Whippo. Granted, didn't necessarily know that Whippo was going to be there, but spreading apart from his team. At the same time, Hylissang finds that great engage on the bottom side. It's within these fights like this, where you have to make very rapid decisions, that I feel like Rogue are being beat out by the best teams in the LEC.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to say it. They don't necessarily make the wrong decisions, but the teams that they've come up against are more clutch in those moments, right? Yep. I think the target selection by Whippo fight after fight after fight was really good. And I think you also have to talk about the supports a little bit. And I want to start treats by Hilly and his Rakan. They sometimes even first pick it for him. Can you explain to us kind of how influential it has been so far this series?
I mean, it kind of shouldn't be allowed to be played as good as he does in this game. He should be
like, what is this, man?
Yeah, he's just crazy, yeah. No, he should be put behind very far from lane, which they kind of did as well. I think Rogue's bot lane has had a good start to both lanes now, but it's just not enough with Chumbi being on this Lulu. He doesn't have any agency, and Hylissang always finds engages. If he's 0-10, 10-0, doesn't matter. He will always find them.
Yeah, and
han kjører en klimbe og tar alle killsene til AD carry.
Playing in generals, they want all these champions that go flying on forward. It doesn't necessarily matter that they're putting themselves into tough lane matchups because of the way they can find.
Nei, bare mute da. Faen, så rude du kaller det.
Du vet at du får alle killsene kun fordi jeg dårlig. En ting jeg gjør med vilje, og en annen ting er å secure kills fordi jeg ikke klarer det selv.
Okay, that's true.
Zaya was banned that game.
Rakan foran Shox, sjette mode.
Also is, you know, if we follow kind of the plan of Rogue, we know that Rogue
Craig isn't.
So are they just too stuck on, all right, we have to have this winning bot lane matchup because that's what we're good at. We have to have, you know, maybe the counter pick in top lane because that's how it should work. But it seems like they run into teams like Mad, like Fnatic, that say, no, we are actually going to pick what we think is best for winning the game and going forward.
Correct.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of weird because Rogue like this in the best of ones in the past, and also in playoff series they've picked up a lot of wins playing this way, but it just looks like they're not getting big enough lead, and they don't have the champions like, they feel super comfortable finding these like massive leads. So I think even though they have decent early games, it needs to be even better. And I also think, I mean, I don't want to see Inspired on Trundle once again. I think it's like insane that the MVP gets to play Trundle twice when he could be a really influential player in the series. So I think they need more champions with more flying forward with 5 champions.
Imagine spending 800 lech points to highlight the message.
Super proactive when it comes to like searching out and finding fights, and I think that putting
highlight the message.
Yeah, you need to see him more on an engage heavy support. I think for sure. I also want to talk a bit about Niski. There was a big talking point about if TF is out of the game, what can he do? He says, no problem. I'll be fine on my Casio as well. I think that needs to be called out in terms of Fnatic. But let's pull up the draft now. Backs against the wall completely for Rogue. Yes, they made it to Worlds, but as said, they wake up in a cold sweat because they want to get back to those finals. Fnatic is now in, you know, again on match point. They've been here before. This time, though, it's in a game 3. What are we going to see from both teams in game?
Well, Fnatic are just going to run it down so they can get to their game 5 comfort zone. No, honestly, I think that what we saw from Fnatic, even especially in this game, is all champions have so much heavy dive. It's a little bit shocking because it doesn't feel like a draft like this should work out. Like I was thinking, like when Upset locked in the Kai'Sa, I was really liking the Jinx as a possibility for him to have range to fight back against Rogue's team, but honestly, Fnatic, if they just keep drafting compositions that really seek out fights over again, I say go for it. Rogue do not seem like they are equipped, and especially if they keep playing range, nice laning champions that aren't great fighters, go and punish them.
Treats, you said 3-2 Fnatic, so that means we're going to see another 2 games won by Rogue. How will they do it?
Oh, yeah, it's looking kind of tough right now for Rogue. I think they need to have more agency on Inspired and Shenbi both. I'd like to see them on more aggressive champs with some engage. And I think, like, I don't know, Larsen still needs to do more on the Rise. Like, now he had the opportunity to really pop off on the map, but it didn't really feel like he had the side.
Det litt trist om Rogue skal bli stompa andre ganger på rad.
Nå kommer Ashe Serafinen.
You said in Castrum, you said Larsen is playing the Rise like he plays the Orianna, and you don't want that.
No, I mean, it's not only his fault, because I think it's not really good to gank a Lulu or a Jace, so it's kind of tricky, but yeah, definitely he can do more as well.
All right, let's see what happens. It is all on the line for Rogue in game 3 as they need a win to stay alive in the fight for the LEC title.
Det rart. Sjokk har på seg så ekstremt forskjellige klær hver gang. Du bytter sti sånn hver uke.
En liten periode så følte jeg Instagrammen hennes. Hun bare sånn, jeg har faktisk flere skinnbukser. Jeg har ikke bare én, selv om dere tror det. Men det ble litt for mye selfies. Jeg bare, nei, jeg gidder ikke.
Wow, sexism.
Og så, det var annenhver selfie. Det var annenhver selfie og annenhver belgisk fotball under EM. Og jeg bare, nei, jeg gidder ikke. Belgia er ikke et land. Ingen kultur, mann. Bare politisk. De har ingen nasjonal følelse, mann.
Verst jeg har hørt. Eden Hazard gir meg mening.
Ja, fordi at de har gode fotballspillere, gjør ikke dem til et land.
Vincent Kompany fyller meg med mening.
I bakgrunnen er faktisk trippy.
De Bruyne også, men still. My point still stands. Det var veldig trippy i bakgrunnen, ja.
Få se på Ketchum da.
Å, Ketchum. Det var litt sånn...
My nigga, na-na. My nigga.
Du vet du kan få de...
You're currently timed up for the...
Skje for mye.
Du kan sette i 3 til nå, vet du.
Fornøyd?
Ja.
Nå vet jeg ikke hvor jeg skal ha musa med, da.
Nei.
Du kan ikke ha den på skjermen, og så forsvinner nesten du har den nok.
Gjør den?
Nei.
Nei. Jo,
den gjør det.
Wrecked. Money banana. Ja, na.
Jeg vil ha bare kattjamme.
Cat jam, no mods, no ban.
Hvor er den, Anna?
Det er for spør meg ikke den. Når noen begynner å spamme den, så begynner jeg å ha det samme fan. Helt bra.
Gjør sånn, da. Sånn.
Jeg tror det kommer til å bli timeout igjen, fordi du har gjort det så mange ganger. Eller ikke fordi at du har gjort det mange ganger, men fordi at du gjør det samme ganger. Bra.
Men alt jeg vil skrive er catjam. Jeg liker han, man blir timer for spam inn chatten her. Se på den chatten her. Noen subscriber med Prime til Lek?
Ja.
Ja vel?
Always remember, guys, subscribe for more content like this.
Det her som en av de Twitch-kanalene jeg alle har konstant subscriber til, men ok.
Hva tror dere at G2 kommer til å komme til Vels?
At de jo 14? Ja, jeg har fortsatt trua.
14?
Ja, se på han jo liten og fransk.
Ja, den
Going into the series, Yamato for weeks already, even against Misfits, against Vitality, he just looked at all of us and...
Det var ikke hotskjorte, så det gikk det relativt dårlig. De vant fortsatt, men det gikk fortsatt dårlig. Men nå har han på seg kegerskjorte. Da på stumpe. It's the truth.
G2 i goal 2.
Uppe bare fant ut at han var for dårlig topplane og begynte å jungle i stedet for.
Han fant ut at alle junglene var for dårlig. Han gidder ikke mer. Hva mye derfra? Gjør det selv.
Self-made mot Vitality for at han var for shit.
Gay pride, gay pride. Bippo Fat Jetty. Det blir ikke en venn av for. Skriv POG med stor P og så liten OG.
Er det sånn det er?
Jeg husker den. Den pilleren er så nice.
You don't calculate everything, you just have a really good idea of like, this should be good. That was a pillar. I flashed pillar and I was like, feels like it's gonna be good.
Er det her Bippo sin masterclass i pillar, liksom?
Jeg har ikke peiling.
Ja.
Jeg fikk et troll,
og upset før han klippet seg.
The most difficult part about going into the finals week next week is this felt like a finals. Like I didn't think I was good enough to make it. I proved everyone that doubted us wrong. Everyone doubted us. 3-2 Vitality, 3-2 Misfits.
3-2 Vitality, hva sa det? Det var han sa bare setsen deres. Ingen i verden som trodde Vitality skulle vinne det. Det gikk til 5 games, så var det de sæser selv.
Mener du? De har lider, bro.
Lider?
Hva mener du? De har jo Shugenda. Feeder. Jeg gikk på å se på sånn EA Masters game, og så var det sånn Shugenda og Tymra som var på lag av sånn question mark.
They're not here to lose.
They are not here to lose after
all. They're not here to lose. Fnatic 2-0 up in this series. It has been dominance in game 1, game 2. They fought back. They found their way into the game through incredible skirmishes, and now they stand poised to make it the LEC finals. They have fought through each.
You look at the Prime League. You look at the
team in the playoffs, except for Mad Lions, and if they win today, they'll get their shot against them.
Ja, sånn Sara, Trimby og Shugenda var på samme tid på EA Masters. Trimby på samme lag som Sara.
Probably going to.
Trimby moved up in the world. Sara stayed.
Så spiller de Vuelight, som altså det god.
Ja, hvis de slår dem nå og kommer i finalen, da må Adam ha noe ganske godt på CV-en,
Hva tenker du om Eloya, som var på fekken sin...
Og vant i fjor? Nei, i fjor sier jeg på hans siste klipp, liksom.
Han vant på den første gang som orke. Og Trimby var sånn på andreplass som første season for rookie, så
det ganske syk.
Rogue obviously not out of this one yet. The celebration of Fnatic split, well deserved, but they have not climbed the mountain yet. There is still much more in front of them. This game in Rogue, the first step in a long road, and Rogue
AP Jungle og Lysam mid,
are not going to let them go easily.
So, game 3 draft. What's working
Rakan instantly.
Yeah, Camille, TF, you know, roaming mids. Niski found the way to deal with the rise.
Well, there goes Tristere. Bankmann. Han du ringer når du kommer til bank-supporten.
Ja.
Nei, men han banker folk veldig ofte.
Will they choose to remove the Aphelios? Will they leave the Thresh open? They're gonna just get rid of
Han bare gidder ikke noe mer. Få det ut.
Hva som nå åpner han? Det så mye som åpner.
He's got more in the tank, but you would expect that
Lose him then.
they go in. You imagine though that the first pick is going to be the Thresh.
Det var...
De expecta det i Jungle. Og Thresh?
Da vet du at de desperate.
Dæven og Filius og Kajsa i samme game. Stilig.
Nei, ikke Månemannen.
Månemannen.
Nei, Hilde, tenk på Braum.
The premier carry option to pair with the Thresh and grabbing Braum for themselves.
What AD do they want to go here? Could leave AD till 4-5, but he could go for Kalista, Jinx. Notorious champions with the Thresh.
Yeah, very true. Perhaps they want to put all of the eggs in the heart.
Jinx, hva skjer?
An excellent performance in game 2 on his Ashe. It was difficult for him to play those fights later on into the game, but it does seem that they are putting full confidence in him this time around. Hyper carry Jinx, he's gotten a 2v2 kill in all of the series.
Ja.
Let's see if he can make it a third. Now Rogue need to round out their draft. Will they grab themselves
Han sitter så jævlig back hele tida.
Shinshao, let's go.
Men det er fordi han har du sett det...
Eller Vego.
Musikkvideoen.
Den
Niski-Asir. Silas høller den
Så er han der typen jævlen bak, fordi han er faen meg i gamer-mood. Det er inspired,
Adam på krokodilla.
Fyllefan.
And I like already having that strong blind pick for Adam. He's been doing pretty well in this series. Of course, it was
Trundle
behind Odoamne in both the games. Maybe
Han får ikke lov til å spille gene da.
But it still had very big impact in the fights and skirmishes. Now you can see Fnatic, though, trying to set him up for success by banning away further top laners. Again, McKinnon not been allowed to show up once in this series so far.
So, do you think the next ban is a Jace, or do you think it's a
jævlig god Kennen, da, skal sies.
That one, right, okay.
I also don't know if it's an Ornn.
So, the reason why I bring up the Ornn is because right now Rogue is very committed towards this teamfight style, and they want a form of engage. The only concern I would have around that is, of course, something like the Storm, but it was something that they brought out last week when they played against Mad, and that was the game that they actually came, well, outside of the
Niski er vel en av 3 spillere i verden som spiller den tingen der mitt.
De tror virkelig at det kommer til å komme.
De vet ikke, de vil ikke. Eller det er vel, det er jo 4 da.
Spiller han Simon
Bjørgsen, Jensen
og Niski.
Spiller vel Killen i gang. Jeg tror Caps spiller, gjør han ikke det? Jeg vet ikke. Men da er Niski. Men det er vel Faker.
Bjørgsen gjør jo alt mye rart da.
Ja, men Bjørken er helt vild på Siljen mitt. Siljen mitt er hans pocketpick. Bjørn taper ikke på Siljen mitt. Han gjorde det en gang da. Han er helt insane winner på Siljen mitt.
I would love GP as well. I think this would be so
Det er danskene mitt, altså.
And I think they're into the Renekton. The
Caps er jo også dansk. Det er danskene mitt. Og så ser du norskene mitt da. Fider og gjengen.
Question is,
Well,
you're a jungler, Cadril. Would you prefer something like a Lee here? I know you've talked a lot about how the mobility on the Lee is also quite good.
Lider som går sånn 0-3, og så plutselig har han 7 kills sånn. Ja! Riven jungle!
play around.
Graves?
There's a lot of good options here for jungle. I don't think that's big of a
Graves
worry.
Jarvan?
Might get picked up. I think it's an amazing pick with the
Ja,
GP
nå
right
er
now.
vi.
But no,
Diego.
he's gonna go for
Oi, Diego på Inspired.
You look so smart there, highlighting all these really good picks.
Inspired
And
på en
it's like,
champ,
screw
og
you,
det-
Diego.
Yeah, just goes to Diego.
I mean, you
Ah,
guys sit
shit.
now,
Der kommer Sylasen, ja.
Hva er det med Sylen-banden? Trundle og Sylas våpen. Og begge to er så bra.
I guess de ikke vil møte Niski Siljan utifra Skorges resonnement. Hva slo de?
Niski-spillerne? Nå er jeg på bord. Jeg vet ikke om det. Jeg regner med at hun hadde spilt mot Jensen og Bjørken på det, og dem spiller det. Men det er ingen som er like god på Siljen mid som pappa Bjørken, altså.
Jeg husker Froggen med sin pocketpick av Nivea.
Ja, så driver han og gjør det fugle-movementen på scenen. Sykt jævlig.
Ikke han noe dansk?
Froggen er nok kanadier.
Svensk.
Svensk? Det er Skandinavia, middelhen, altså.
Vent litt. Froggen er dansk, da.
Det var det jeg trodde. Det er danskene middelhen, altså.
Ja, snodig var. Ja, vi har jo
Lars er jo svensk, da, så...
Er Caps dansk, altså? Han er ikke så dansk?
Caps er dansk, ja. Records er jo svensk, altså. Skandinavia melder hardt, ja.
Faen. Lekk og Records.
Lekkløs.
Og Records, da, sorry.
Nei, hæ?
Hva du vil jeg skal si, da? Reckless er det jeg skal si.
Ja. Det er ordet reckless, ikke sant?
Ja, det uttales av alle castersene hele tiden Records.
Hæ?
Oi, hva skjedde da?
Vis meg.
Du må følge med på... Se på...
Han sier jo reckless.
Zoning away the enemy bot lane while Adam's on a weak side Reddington. This looks
Jeg
exactly like
sverger.
Fnatic.
Han sier
This
reckless.
is definitely one of the many strategies that Fnatic often use to try and enable their bot side of the map. Let's see how Rogue
Hæ?
respond. You also have to be careful of any early shenanigans in the mid
Godt
lane
mulig
as
han
well.
sier Reckless.
Let's have a look here. Adam
Da faen.
just covering
Jeg synes
for
bare ikke jeg
Rover
hørte før.
for the time being. This ward, of course, is here to spot anything out. So if the split map does in fact happen, how they will be able to respond.
Ha.
I think good play from Fnatic. Rogue don't have that much dive pressure up towards the top side unless Adam takes a bad trade. And bot lane is quite difficult when you're playing, you know, Aphelios.
Uansett Skandinavia melder, sett bort ifra Norge da. Vi er ikke så gode i league.
Jeg mener, vi har Lider.
Ja, feeder.
Vi har jo også Nuke-dekk.
Ja, han...
Og Finn.
Bedre enn feeder.
Finn
da.
jobber etter dårligste toppleiren i...
Ja. Så bra at han er fra Norge, da.
Sharp.
Observers, can we very quickly have a look at the top
Hvem
lane
andre da?
wave? Because
Det
as
er
Woodrow
så
is
mye
making
flere
his
folk,
way
ass.
to mid, we can see that Adam does actually have a push here, which means that the risk of a collapse is very real. Adam trying to be as aggressive as possible as Bwipo makes his immediate way towards the red buff. They know that he's on it. Let's see if the collapse comes through.
He's pretty much out here. Bwipo's just going to take away his Raptors. So in the end, it's going to be a +1 for Bwipo because he gets his own Raptors and takes away the enemy. Just a case of him taking
Plus
the
en,
Raptors and
plus
deciding what
en.
to do next. You could pass towards the bot side of the map, but the thing is, the pressure is
Ikke med
relieved
GP,
from Rogue's bot lane now. They see Bwipo towards the top side, running through mid. Now bot lane's 2v2 again, and they can start to look for pushes. As I
Han
said,
er så upset, ass.
Kirby walks away for 1 second. Hillsang immediately gets the fight kicked off. Both of them have been marked by the concussive blows. They're going to find the stun immediately onto Trinity.
Åh, Filios bråker sånn.
Backing away now as Niski gets aggressive in the mid lane. Clean sidestep comes out from Larson. The dissonance as well for the movement speed steroid, and it's fights across
Larson.
everybody looking to kill everybody. He's inspired now to run. Whippo doing so much damage. The flash out.
Med Troll King.
That one up on the bottom lane. That's 3, that's 4. That's going to be the final stack. Now the CC there as well. Upset in Hylissang. Turn it around. It's 2v2 kills.
Bare ikke trade.
Every single time, but in game 3, Fnatic finally find it as
Hylissang
just barely keeping him alive.
Hylissang bare går frem, dør nesten bare for kuas.
And there was a lot of fighting in bot. Trimby missing his flare on the
Det
initial cage. Both heals traded off, and now Fnatic might be the ones to dive top despite splitting them at bot.
Troll King! Pilar!
Troll King! Already tanking the tower means Adam grabs the dive as well.
Troll King! Fnatic are just dominating absolutely everything, and I think Whippo's showing us a masterclass in how to play this Trundle. Like, this is crazy. He's stolen what, like, he stole the enemy raids, he then steals enemy raptors, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my raptors.
Det var så mye mening i draften helt til jeg bare lot Trundle gå.
The first time that Upset and Hylissang were able to find themselves a 2 versus 2 kill, and Fnatic already sit at a 1k gold lead only 4 minutes in.
Yeah, Inspired's gonna come towards bot lane. Hans hasn't based yet. There's a TP behind, no flashes on all of them.
The Fnatic special, now it's gonna be Adam in the midst of the team, but that's the double TP going in. Niski gonna go for the bomb. There's nothing he can do, and now it's
Jeg vil ta noe med det her I gjør.
It's a 2000 gold lead. It's 4 minutes in. Fnatic win out on bot, win out in jungle, get a top dive and use their TPs to bot.
Det bot lane classic. 0-3.
Really struggling now. This is incredible play from Fnatic.
The mental fortitude now required from Rogue when you're already down 0-2 and you're now down such a massive.
Det ser ut som det blir finalen mellom Mad og Fnatic enn så lenge.
Final game in the LEC is going to have to be massive.
Rogue har spilt clean gjennom hele splitten, og så I playoffs så begynner de å tisse litt I senga. Fnatic har spilt jalla gjennom hele splitten, og I playoffs begynner de å jobbe.
Fnatic sit there and goes, oh, hang on,
Oh my god.
Så legger denne kontrollwarden så dirty.
barely able to walk that one out.
Yeah, with the stun and with the pink on the lantern, I thought he was dead. Does manage to get it in the end, but winning out everywhere. Larson has flash and Pippo sees him with the sweeper.
Stepping forward is going to be big. Pillar, where's it going to go? He's
probably Pilar.
Around the pillar. Niski now chasing. Niski flash available as
well. Rett inn I off.
One stack on the concussive blows, but Hylissang is unrelenting. These guys are bloodthirsty. This is the most aggressive early game they've had in the entire series.
Oh, I thought Hilly getting on Larson's flash there would end up in a kill, but no, the blast going gets him out. He's forced to base. Niski's gonna push in mid. Fnatic winning out everywhere on the map right now.
So typically when we think of Rogue, we think of a team that uses their proud lanes to best enable their jungler. Oh, hang on, Inspired might just be dead.
Locked up, Inspired now trying to trade back just a little bit, but Niski level 5, Conqueror now fully stacked, does dodge out in the double half for the second half. Shane's rather. Stepping forward with the Petricite burst. Larson in the area. Niski's still going. Niski, absolute confidence. He's just gonna go.
Holy shit.
Disaster. Det så disaster. Han leveler 6.
Getting routed. Niski walking into a 2v1 fearlessly. This is not good for the side of Rogue. He's got a level advantage. Adam's still trading anyway.
Fnatic is... Oh, hang on, they're setting up a dive.
Ja, men det skjer jo nå hele tida.
Det her bare Fnatic. Fnatic aggressive style. Trimby.
Vi kunne ikke gå et game uten at Hulli døde, nei.
Larsen! Larsen!
Det var en ganske cool shutdown.
A little bit of a greedy dive there from Fnatic. The GP ultimate saving them to make sure Rogue at least trade back for 2 kills, but the most important thing here is the bot lane of Rogue is just so far behind. Larson shows up in the end alongside Inspired to clean up a little bit, but Fnatic just dominating every single lane.
Oh my word, Fnatic are just relentless. Like, this isn't even a fully stacked wave. They're just like, hey, they're only level 4 and level 3. Upset's level 5, Whippo's level 5. The GP ultimate does a lot of damage and is a main reason as to why Rogue are even able to get anything back. But Whippo secures that other kill, and then you see the overcommitment here from Niski. He doesn't see Inspired in the lane. That stun from over the wall was clutch, and it allows Rogue a little bit back as the onslaught continues. 2-7 is the kill advantage for Fnatic.
A little bit of a misplay there from Niski. If he hit the chain, he probably would have just one-shot Larson straight up and got out, so Rogue do manage to find something at the very least, but it's just a kill over to Odoamne and Inspire the bot lane.
Niske på Sylas har sett det mange ganger, og det er farlig.
Hansama and Larson are both actually still even in CS. Hook lands.
Hooked, easy CC follow. Clean play now coming in. There's no
Ja, det her er hvorfor jeg ikke velger Hyllis,
coming in from the side of Rogue.
Yeah, great lantern as well, pulling Inspired all the way into the river to make sure
Det er hvorfor jeg velger Drymby.
there's no way of escaping. So one thing helps out the bot lane, should be able to push out, so a little bit of pressure coming in for Rogue.
And we talked about mental fortitude. The fact that they're still looking for these plays is so important for Rogue, because while they do have a strong scaling composition, they can't just allow Fnatic to steamroll them over in the early game. Fnatic is in a great position. There are still things that Rogue can do.
Han stå på freezen, det der er ikke noe som du gjør, altså, for å si sånn.
Jeg vil ikke freeze når jeg skal kjøre waven, ass.
Freeze han fra nå.
Og her er med minien og venter.
Right now is Odoamne on the top side. Decent CS lead over Adam, also the beneficiary of the kill. Means individually he has a decent gold lead, and with the power of that cannon barrage, he should be sitting pretty comfortably. Also, highest in XP in the game currently. Maybe, just maybe, the
Og da han er bare litt for høy level.
It certainly can be, and like again, I have to give credit to Odoamne because his laning phase throughout this series has been very good. In the first game, he was subject to a lot of dives from the mid lane, and then last game you saw him with a huge CS discrepancy in the 1 versus 1. So credit to him, he has been laning very well, and now he's utilizing this gangplank to find more advantages. Rogue rotating up towards the top side, looking to funnel more resources into Hansama. We talked about it in the draft, he is going to be the key carry for this team.
Yeah, complete just swap up here. Rogue have the gangplank ultimate up soon, so they should be able to ult the next wave in bots, so that should give them a little bit of a tempo advantage if they use this Herald up towards the top side. But Inspired's gone over to give the blue buff. I think Odoamne will have to ult the next wave at least, because otherwise Upset's going to get that tower, and Niski's pushing in mid, so 2 pressure lanes here for Fnatic, but Rogue have the Herald.
See what Upset can get done. Gun's not ideal. The white gonna go down much faster.
Oi, han går hardt.
One staff looking for a few more onto Larson. He's trying to survive the GP ult now, forced to be used in the mid lane, but here comes the rocket from Hansama. Can he find the land? Is only gonna hit Whippo. Hylissang now running, trying to turn it back. Hylissang does go down, and they manage to trade something. Yes, at the end of the day, though, Larson still goes down.
Hvorfor ikke velge Hyllis?
Cleanses the oranges initially. Upset still stepping forward.
Mannen får ting gjort, men mannen dør hele tida.
Top side, the gold is coming for Hansama. This man's gonna be rich.
Going down.
Firing back in the mid lane, breaking down tower plates of their own. Inspired, all he can do is respond.
Yeah, the GP ultimate is saving these dives against Fnatic, actually giving them the 1-for-1 trades. Larson manages to pull it off, and because Odoamne sees 3 people mid, he can walk up bot and clear the wave, but now he might not be so safe. Whippo's running down, Adam is running down, Niski has TP up, there's a ward right behind him, Trimby's reading the play, TP's coming in, I think the lantern out should be enough, unless Whippo can cancel it.
Okay, fresh balance champion.
Jeg har sånn lantern, jeg.
Nice lantern, meet control ward.
75 gold counters all champion.
How 75 gold made this champion playable.
Everyone's playing with fire in their bases in this
Det var
series.
klart, da.
Everyone's facing within a centimeter or a second of someone
Not even close, baby.
Can we very quickly have a look
Oh
at the
my.
board and see this?
Risky!
Big
Hallo, dude!
Happens.
Professional player, by the way.
Professional
no.
player.
Uh-oh.
Nå ble voldtekt i gata her. Bare kommer 3 stykker og bare stikker tissen sin inn i det.
Han var jævlig mye control ward, i hvert fall. Satan.
De bare drit i Inspire.
Ja, bare for å få han til sånn ikke kan komme seg til hans.
Boys, indeed, Fnatic moving around as a
Yeah, sure.
temple. The reason they're doing it is because they have a good TP ward behind bots. They want to push out and get this next dragon. You'd expect Whippo's going to start that one up, and Rogue forced
For å oppdatere deg, så går det én vei.
And importantly, they get 2 summoners.
Det går alle veier.
It's just
Og det er til kvalik for Worlds for Rogue.
Every time they have their TP
But now TP flank
Hva er det som skjer? Dobbelt-TP-en!
Og dobbelt-TP. Hylle er død, og...
Ja, men den driver og tar dragen, den TP-en til å drepe supporten.
Ja, men du må ødelegge koden til Hylle.
Jeg tenkte det skulle komme sånn syk TP-frenging på dragen her. Nei da. Den bare gitt andre veien.
Hylle.
Altså, får jeg det her?
There's nothing. Inspired, they have to be careful. Niski was forward, he's gonna miss the stun. That's pretty massive. Steals away the ultimate. The GP ult comes in, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Inspired now blows up, he's taking away Niski. Maybe the chance to turn the power.
Inspired pentakill?
But it will not do it in this fight. Hansama now running at him. First dash forward immediately.
Første pikken.
Nei, fordi de glemte at control word counter champion.
That's gonna be it. Bwippo on a killing spree. Fnatic 3k up.
They TP'd in, they base, then they get collapsed on Fnatic. Really good decision making. Get the dragon, give up Hylissang.
5-2 Niski, ja. Det er ganske mye poeng av dere sharp-leder mitt, I hvert fall på Niski.
Jeg tør påstå at det ikke var Fnatic sin decision å sacrifice Hilly. Det er mer Rogue sin decision å sacrifice dragen, ass.
Hilly kommer til å gå 1-18 uansett, så det går fint.
Han teleport midt på en varden.
Det gir ikke mening å backe det.
Det er veldig random.
Jeg forstår ikke. Jinx er veldig vanskelig å spille mot team som liker å hoppe sånn som Fnatic.
Spesielt med ultrash.
Hæ?
Månemann!
Jeg tror han sitter så på office der. Det er en liten sjanse til han følger med deg.
Der var Larsen fordi han prøvde å freeze waven. Syke faen.
Pilar?
Jeg tror det der er reverse killer, ass. Psych. No you. Oi, det der var jo ikke så lurt, da. Han hoppet
Faen, det kommer GF-ulti, men det er fucking Sylas sin, så jeg forstår jo faen ikke.
Ja, jeg skulle si GF-ulta seg selv. Sylasen er jo huge, da.
Ja, du ser frem, det var en Leona I game her, da. Da hadde du hatt en 1000 range og AOE tactical nuke. Du kunne ha droppet ned.
Det er 7-2 Sylas her.
Dum champion.
Jeg er så glad for at Niski spiller det han spiller, for jeg har bare sett Sharp Blade på Niski, sett Arcane, de mest AP-damage I gamet, så skapper han så masse points.
Ja, da, honestly, Sylas jo sånn, han tar jo bare sånne halvveis imbalance support ultimates, og gjør den til sånn literal deployed tactical nukes.
Ja, hvis du spiller mot en Sylas, og du pikker Alistar, og så kjenner en Sylas, det er dodge, ass. Det er dodge. Jeg var jarl Alistar-ultene. En Sylas som ikke dør.
En av hele Rogue sin gangstrategi ble countet av en planta. Satan.
This has certainly been a Fnatic dominating early game. Yes, Rogue has been able to fire back.
De tikker litt sånn merkelig kompass. Counter control words og planta. Ikke ideelt.
Antidiff. Jævla drittmap. Jeg lett å spytte som fruit in the jungle and vision plant.
Starter de klokka 11 I morgen? Hva faen? Hvor tidlig starter I morgen?
Nå starter jeg klokka 11.
Ja, det sto nettopp det på skjermen.
Om 23, liksom?
Nei. Gjør jeg?
11 om morgenen.
Hello!
Ja, Inspire begynner å bli husj nå.
Nei, her starter de 11 om morgenen.
Ja.
Nei.
Faen må gå og legge meg snart.
Det var det som sto.
Nei, jeg tror det var det andre. Jeg tror de startet den 11, men jeg tror ikke det er gamene.
Nei, gamen starter ikke 11, nei, men det er bare sånn, hva er det?
Det starter klokka 5.
Hva er det de skal snakke om I 4 timer?
Nei, 11 I morgen, eller 11, det I dag, det. Det
er sikkert sånn LP, det er sikkert sånn hater-lobby.
Det er det jeg sier. Hvor mye skal de prate da før gamesene?
Hva med før gamesen etterpå?
Det jo før gamesen det også.
Ja, det før gamesen.
Ja, det er sånn kosekveld. Kvelden før kvelden, det det som
gamet her vel teknisk sett før gamet.
Ja, det jo. Men
det er sånn kosekveld.
Hvis Fnatic ikke er munde I tide, så taper vi faktisk. Ja, den teamkampen deres er jo mye dårligere leit enn...
De har Fearless, da.
De har månemann, bro.
Ja, Fearless er eneste har, og kanskje Trundle.
De har jo fucking Louis Armstrong i botlane.
Men GP-ultien kan bare denie at Fearless får gjøre en dritt.
Han er jo en fedd månemann, da.
Det er jævlig feil. Men det er jo upset, da. Det er jo tidenes KD-player.
Upset ikke hva det er.
Det er verst jeg har hørt.
The good news for Rogue
Yeah,
is that
that's
Hanson has
right.
just secured his second item. This is where we're getting to the point where this Jinx is starting to be a little bit more scary. If the Infinity Edge comes through third,
Upset er jo bare fyren som spiller liksom Kalista og bare blir 11-0-3, liksom.
The important thing for Rogue is you have really good range, you know, Jinx range with
Så
rockets.
men Afilos varierer hvor sterk den er, for det er jo stund siden.
Jeg skulle sett 4 stemmer på han sammen sist uke.
Han sto 1v9, da. Sånn, trenger ikke Afilos pil. Han sa meg bare, nei, ta en teamfight alene.
Den damage-grafen er noe verst skjedd liv.
Hva var han deala? 11k i en teamfight?
Det var en 13k i en teamfight. Og det var en sånn teamfight som ikke var bra for en gang. Han sitter 1v3 en halvtime og sprang bakover. Det var ikke free-hitting fight. Hvis det var en free-hitting fight så ville jeg vært sånn, nei, whatever. Men det var sånn, alle som hoppet på han, og han sleit her på død, så kom tilbake, og så døde han igjen.
Adam? Adam?
Han bare hoppet over veggen til døden.
Ja, men han sto loka.
Ja, og han døde også for det, obviously.
Doing what they often do, working together, getting this vision down, stealing away enemy jungle camps, and ultimately providing safety for Niski to push out this top wave all the way into the tier 2.
Yeah, their only objective, like you said, is this tier 2, but they don't have very good siege champions. Like we said, only one range champion, the Aphelios. These melee champs will never be able to hit the tower against the GP Oriana, so Rogue...
Det er true, de har bare en range.
Fnatic don't really have to overforce 20 seconds on the Baron.
Bra ability.
Ja, det spiller aldri hardt på, men at det ikke. Men Jinx er veldig vanskelig å komme seg tilbake igjen.
Hadde du lyst til å poke meg? Nei, jeg heter
Hun må harme en halvtime.
Det er faktisk et Rogue som, nei, Fnatic som må faktisk messe opp for at de sikkert vinner.
Og Rogue har en syk team for det. Og han kan bare one-shotte Afilos egentlig, som får til det. Kunne gå.
Ja, men til det, altså de har jo Nekten og Trundle kommer jo til å bli så utanky etter hvert med på grunn av GP og Jinx.
Ja, men Trundle har jo minste piller da. Som er en sykeste item. Nei, jeg har ikke en sykeste ability som er billig.
Men den kan også ødelegge hele teamfight på laget også.
Kan det?
Ja, du kan pille ved forferdelig dårlig.
Det blir ikke som at det være så langt frem med Trundle for til resten timen, så det ikke skal...
Ja, det gjør faktisk det. Du skal gjøre mye for å fucke det opp, ja.
Han sa man lever med en skummel da.
Det gjør han til vanlig.
I don't know, Kedra, what do you think? If you're in this sort of position,
han er redd for at en Niski kommer bak henne.
Is the better play style, or do you feel like there's more pressure on having to constantly make plays be proactive?
That's what your draft gives you, really, isn't it? Because their draft doesn't have any point and click engage unless they hit a hook or someone overextends Fnatic. So with what they've got, this might maybe a little bit out of it because you know you're down 0-2.
Jinx er ikke den letteste champion å
Realistically, there's not much you can
springe
do
vekk.
unless someone finds some kind of hero play where Larsen might push out top and then sit behind him in a bush, put a ward down, and then try to flank someone in some universe.
Jeg digger hvordan map-kontrollen til pro-players, det er sånn, en dude blir spottet av en board, og så er det bare 7 pings, bare
There's someone here, there's someone here. Jeg tror GP her blir ganske syk, ass. Plutselig så bare møter de på GP i en fight, og så ser de hvor mye damage han er. Og GP jævler dem med sånn supermiddelkamp.
Han har Triforce på kjempen, ikke?
Sett ut mye hva?
Jeg har ikke sett Odoane så mye på GP, så jeg har ikke noe gode.
Han har gjort det ganske bra på den.
Now Niski's basing, he probably wants to TP in soon. They're pinging a ward very deep on the Krugs there. Maybe he wants to look for
den gamle GP.
behind. For now,
Ja, det ser jeg.
Upset potentially ready for a fight here. TP coming back into the mid lane. Well highlighted there on the ward, but it looks like they're not quite looking for the flank yet.
Ante bare reveale hele laget.
Mountain Soul.
See what they want to go for.
Will fight der.
Og Pilar? Pilar?
Det er et veldig rar valg av Rogue.
Så kommer den nye GP.
Ja, bare de som glemte at det fuckings er Mountain Terrain, liksom.
Det her er tilting gameplay.
Når halvparten av teamet tar Baron og halvparten av teamet tar Breakers, da... Så kult. Ja, det så kult.
Hero steal.
Det ville ikke vært det alle.
Det var faen ikke langt unna da. Jeg måtte bare det, sånn jeg lærte dere.
Jeg tror Rogue tiltaket sikkert.
Separately respekter ikke dette Mountain-storyen der. Fucking så hardt over også.
Det er sånn 2 Trundle-pillars i det her.
Ja.
Oh my fucking...
Det ene som må spille rundt er at de er mulig. Oh my god, hva er en GP-redemption der?
There's nothing like pushing one button and doing 2.8K.
You're gonna feel yourself extraordinaire, aren't you?
That's enough years to bring a tear to my eye.
Yeah, you can literally see the number of years in the damage bar right there.
That's right.
Ooh. Props to Adam as well, though. Good follow-up. Flash E gets the Q Gore Drinker on top of the AoE that Upset was doing. He had a fantastic fight too, and now Fnatic completely in the driver's seat. So far ahead in gold. Mountain Soul stacked up. They've got Baron. Adam has TP.
Oh my god.
Whippo's pushing in mid. Maybe Rogue can find some kind of engage here to stop the siege.
Upset, and the rest of Fnatic push forward.
That's
tools. He goes golden though. He buys a moment. He has the stopwatch. Is it going to be enough? Hillsang gets locked in by the trap, so he can't body block the initial follow for the damage. But Upset now running.
Stopwatch var lenge, ass. What the fuck?
Good for Rogue. Yes, they do not get the kill, but they slow Fnatic down for a brief moment. That said, Whippo wants the 1v1 versus Odoamne. He's hitting the barrel. He's no stranger to this champion. Odoamne can't pop.
Troll King?
Whippo can pop Odo, no problem.
There's the solo kill with the Sunder and the red smite. Whippo gets the win out there. Adam looking for the dive is going to back off, but Rogue used a couple of ultimates trying to pick off Upset.
Ulti good damage comes up. Now he's going to find the snare fall. Niski off to the side waiting, but keep in mind, in the meantime, Whippo is just taking this inhibitor tower uncontested. Upset backing away. Hillsang trying to buy as much space as possible. That's an ult across 3. Only Hansama relatively unscathed overall. Niski now on the backside. Fnatic collapsing as a unit. It's going to be a bloodbath. Larson has to run for the hills, but no one else will survive.
running for the hills.
Obliterating Rogue in the last few exchanges. It's absolute dominance.
That is
it
for Fnatic. There is no one left standing in Rogue's way. And Fnatic have gone through the gauntlet and will make the way back to the final. They have persevered, but in summer Fnatic rebuilt. They have made it to the summit of the mountain and only Lions stand in front of them.
What an impressive series from Fnatic from start
Jeg har ikke dødd nok til game her.
Every single game looked like they were dominating.
Ja.
The Brotherhood is winning. They've made it to the finals. This wasn't a 5-game series. This was just a clean, clinical 3-0.
Rogue ble 3-0 for andre gang.
De spiller ikke like bra som tidligere.
Nei, jeg skjønner egentlig ikke helt hva som skjer.
Han er sikkert på siste sesongen.
Se hvor lav er de med. Se på han.
Det er det. Larsen.
Han er jo 14.
Han står AK på midtelen.
Nei, ved siden av den, du. Det hadde skjedd noe som var lav.
Jo, ok, ja. Men den ser veldig lav ut, liksom.
Er ikke du 2 til da, skal jeg? Ja, men det er det som jeg husker i ungdomsskolen. Det er sånn en giant menn, liksom.
Ja, fy faen. Ja, for jævlig, ja.
If they win versus the Mad Lions, there is no debate. There are no excuses. Fnatic will be the best.
I mean, what else is there to say? It's
Not upset.
Det der var jo bra game, da.
Det var best game i veien.
Ja, men jeg ser jo en ting. Jeg ser jo at vi er 5 mennesker.
Ok.
Snakker vi fulltime, eller?
Vi snakker hots.
Ja.
Hots?
Hva faen er hots?
Nei, det er ikke noe du trenger å bekymre deg for.
Hots, let's go, Cho'Gal, GG's
Showgirl. Dere kan sitte og spille sånn kjedelig Champions, hvis du sitter og spiller Showgirl.
Vi kjører jo bare Lost Vikings, da.
Jeg sitter jo og gamer fuckings Pokémon her.
Skru av det der Pokémonen, da.
Ja, kom igjen.
Du ser ut som Pokémon, vi skal helt ærlig.
Hvorfor er det ikke normal draft det Simen sitter og lager?
Nei.